Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports. We are now live here in Japan for the fourth round of the 2024 Formula One season. The weather is looking good, the cars are looking even better, and we are going to have a fantastic race for you here. Early morning for most of us around the world. It's very early here in South Africa. It's, I'm sure, early also in the likes of Europe and throughout the rest of Africa and the Middle East, but yeah, in Japan and in that side of the world, in the Far East, it's a much more friendly time. It's going to be a very fun race. The crowds are here in their numbers. There are many very important figures throughout, including some members of the royal family of Japan. They are also here in attendance, and the formation lap is about to begin here. Of course, both Red Bulls right on the front of the grid after yesterday's qualifying session, and Lando Norris is going to try and look to pounce on any mistake from either of them ahead of him, as will Carlos Sainz, who starts in fourth. Fernando Alonso is in fifth, Piastri sixth, Hamilton's down in seventh, needs a bit of work to do, Leclerc even more in eighth, Russell as well ninth, and the home driver for this Grand Prix, Yuki Tsunoda, in 10th, will have his teammate Daniel Ricciardo just behind him to deal with in 11th place. 12th place is Hulkenberg, 13th Bottas, 14th Albon after not a great qualifying session yesterday. Ocon 15th, a terrible qualifying for Stroll, who starts in 16th. Gasly in 17th, Magnussen 18th, Sargent 19th, and Zhou Guanyu of China reading it up at the back. And if you guys are joining us right now for the commentary, please let us know where you're watching from, what you think is going to happen in today's Grand Prix, and as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and like the video right now, guys. Like the video before the race begins so that we can get a few more people on board with us and watching, and get some more comments going as the formation lap is underway. We're looking at possible race strategies here. There's both of them really two-stop strategies, starting on the soft tire, going to the hard, or starting on the medium to then hard, or medium, or more basically hard again as well. Trying to see what tires everybody seems to have on. I think, unless I'm mistaken, I'm seeing a lot of mediums. So we'll have to have a look and see exactly what it is. Meanwhile, we're going to see who's in the comments right now. We've got Raj here saying Fernando Alonso will win this race. Well, I think I'd be very surprised if he does. Has Max won yet? Well, I think, these days it's a foregone conclusion sometimes, but he didn't win the last Grand Prix, nor did he even finish it. So maybe Red Bull have a few more problems than otherwise during today's race, which makes it a bit interesting. Yanni here saying hello. Cora saying hello. Novel, hello everybody. Stefan, morning. Reese, I'm not Reese actually. In fact, I'm Mark. So nice to see you as well. F123 saying Lando, good start. Well, we're hoping that Lando will get a good start, and then he can try and challenge the Red Bulls ahead of him. Old Man Roo saying, hello everybody, can Danny get some points today? Well, he's got to compete with his teammate, so it's going to be a tough one for sure. F123 saying, it's 5 in the afternoon for me. The last race was in 3 in the afternoon. Some good time starts for me. It's usually like 1 in the morning. I miss Reese. Well, Reese will be coming back soon. And it's just for me for today, but he will be back in the next few Grand Prix. I believe he should be there for China. So we will see Reese then. But yeah, all the cars are now lining up on the part of the grid, on the main part of the track. We are about to get going in Suzuka for what will be hopefully a fantastic Grand Prix. One's hoping that the Red Bulls won't dominate it too much. They dominated qualifying a bit too much. But let's hope that the race itself is not all a Red Bull show. Let's try and see something from the McLarens. I would love to see Lando Norris pull off something spectacular here. And I'd love to see some other teams challenge right near the top there. Alonso, I think a lot of us will be watching him, hoping that he does something as well. Labor rather asking, are we in the formation lap? We are indeed, but we're finishing it up right now. The final few cars are making their way onto the start-finish straight to then get going for this race, and I'm very excited to see what will happen. Of course, it's a very dangerous and difficult opening section to a race start out of pretty much all the tracks, because there's blitz corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all fast-paced corners. They're all very windy ones. You could very easily find lots of people going into each other. But the final car, the Kick Saber of Zhou Guanyu, is now ready on the grid. So the lights are about to be shown here in Suzuka for the 4th round of the 2024 season. Here we go. Red Bulls on the front of the track. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. No lights out. And we've got Max Verstappen trying to defend immediately from his teammate. He's got a good start. Lando Norris, not such a good start. Fernando Alonso's right alongside him, as is Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz trying to get into fourth place, but can't seem to struggle with his old teammate. But Fernando Alonso now coming under pressure with Oscar Piastri behind him. Verstappen's already got quite a commanding lead on Perez. Perez a commanding lead on Norris. Norris struggling there. Sainz having to try and deal with a bit of people in the background there. Yellow flag. We've got a Williams in the wall. Williams is in the wall. It's going to be an immediate safety car. My word, big contact there. It's Williams. I can't see whose it is, but I think Alex Albon and Daniel Ricciardo. Alex Albon and Daniel Ricciardo have crashed in sector 1. It's going to be a safety car. Yellow flag. Red flag. Red flag. It's a red flag. It's a red flag. And both drivers just checking that each other are all fine. It seems like they are. Daniel Ricciardo's out of his RB, I think it is. Very disappointing start there for Alex Albon and for Daniel Ricciardo. They have gone into the wall. I said it was a dangerous start because it's high speed, and unfortunately it has resulted in an immediate crash in this race. In lap 1 of 53, we have already got not just a crash, but a red flag in the race. Daniel Ricciardo in car number 3 and Alexander Albon in car number 23 have collided. We're going to see a replay of exactly how that happened in the background there. Unfortunately, because of this tracks being so windy, you don't quite see everything on action on the cameras. So both of them are okay, which is the best news out of the lot. Quite a big shunt straight into the wall there, and this I think will be a lengthy stop. Yeah, so an immediate red flag was called here. So we're going to have another race start, I'm sure, and we'll see some more action like this again. And there's just disappointment in the Williams garage for Alexander Albon. Both of them are out of the car. We're hopefully going to see a replay very, very soon. But yeah, not a good start for Daniel Ricciardo, who's really hoping to try and do something today, and immediately is out of this race. Looking at this race start here, we can go back to the start here. It was a fantastic start for Max Verstappen, also a fantastic start for Valtteri Bottas, who got right past Daniel Ricciardo. And I think that's what also didn't help, is Bottas got right past those two. And Yuki Tsunoda also dropped quite badly. The RBs had a terrible start between the two of them. And you see Alexander Albon was competing with Lance Stroll, just goes alongside Daniel Ricciardo, and they come together. Ooh, that's probably Daniel Ricciardo's mistake. At the same time, there's not much space that Alexander Albon's tried to take there. I'm trying to see as to whether or not this is genuinely Daniel Ricciardo's mistake, but I think it might well be, just by the way. Let's have a look on board with Alexander Albon as he comes into turn 2, well, the third turn basically, because it's a long first hand. And you see he does just break off there a little bit. He gets very close. Alexander Albon has a great start, gets close to Yuki Tsunoda, and then has to just put on the brakes early because there's no space. He then tries to go on the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. It's Daniel Ricciardo's mistake. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not a good look for Daniel Ricciardo. He does just suddenly go to the right there. There's no reason for Daniel Ricciardo to do that other than to try and defend away from people. He did not have a good start at all here, Daniel Ricciardo. Going into the third turn there, you can just see all these cars going around him. He just drops quite quickly. And then you see Alexander Albon just a little bit on his right, comes up there, and he's trying to come back into the, oh, no. Yeah, it's not a great look for Daniel Ricciardo, unfortunately. I think I'm going to have to put the blame on him. Watching here again, let's just go and see. Does he have anybody on his inside? We've got a view from Lance Stroll behind. So do we have somebody on the inside who's preventing Daniel Ricciardo from going to that left there? No, there's... Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo moves far too far to the right, and unfortunately that causes the crash. 100% Daniel Ricciardo's fault. Watching Kevin Magnussen, you just see Daniel Ricciardo just goes to the right ever so slightly, suddenly like goes to the right, and then takes Alexander Albon and himself out of the race. Disappointing start for the Australian. It's not going to be a good look either afterwards, and Alex Albon will be the most disappointed after being taken out essentially in this race. Albon had nowhere to go. He can't do anything about that. Daniel Ricciardo's fine. Alexander Albon's fine. But unfortunately, that is Daniel Ricciardo's fault. And in a season where he's really struggling and he's really wanted to try and do something, and today he had a chance to do it. It's not a good look at all. Going to the comments quickly. Well, that was a fast race, says Leonardo. Indeed, I enjoy that. F123 also saying if Lando wins, he'll give 10 to $20. Frankly, I think the likelihood of Lando winning, you could bet add a zero to that, and I think you still might be a bit of a safe bet. People asking if they can see the Grand Prix. If you wanted to find a way to watch the Grand Prix live, you can look in the description of the video. We have a how-to video there, which explains exactly what you need to do so that you guys can go and see how you can do it completely free and completely legal. And of course, whilst you're there, be sure to go and check out our channel sponsor, BITDEFENDER for all your cybersecurity needs and for award-winning cybersecurity. Go and click the link in the description for a discount so that you can protect all of your devices, both mobile and stagnant. Carlos Sainz is out of his Ferrari. He's just having a bit of a chat. He had a great start. He was just unlucky not to get past Lando Norris because Lando Norris also managed to just get across and defend. Yuki Tsunoda is now the last remaining RB, and Logan Sargent, the last remaining Williams. So, yeah, quite a lot of work for those two to do now for that team. Looking at a few or more of these comments, Linda is saying, what will happen to Alonso's soft tires? Indeed. Well, Alonso started on softs. Hulkenberg, Bottas on the softs. Ocon, Gasly, Stroll, and Sargent all started on softs. So lots of different strategies here, softs and mediums. So yeah, I don't know. I think it should be still fresh relatively, and I think they'll just keep them on for the race start again. Why not? Yeah, as Novell says, not a good weekend for Alex Albon. He struggled in qualifying and is already out of this race. Not his fault, unfortunately, but certainly out of this race already. We've got some more comments here saying, Leonardo said, I bet they had the hand ready on the red flag button for the race start. I will say it's a bit of a small surprise that it's immediately a red flag. I think because of the area of the track and the amount of damage, maybe that's why they call the red flag. And because it's right at the beginning of the race, they might think, you know what, we can't really afford to go for 8-9 laps under safety car because there's quite a lot of damage that they need to try and fix up. So I think that was probably what they saw. It was like, oh, this is going to take a while to clean up. Let's just go straight to a red flag and get this race going again. So I can't say it's the worst decision, but I will say it was a bit of a surprise how quickly they called it. I'm surprised they didn't go safety car and then red flag. So yeah, unfortunate for that. F123 says this puts a spanner in the works. That's for sure. Add a zero. Yeah, I think you do need to add a zero. That's how confident I am that unfortunately no, Lando Norris might not get that win. And also, it's his first win in Formula One. You've got to celebrate it properly if he does manage to get it. MD saying every crash is at a turn. Well, funny that. Mohit Chowdhury here saying, and let's go, Carlos. And of course, Mohit is part of our subscriber and our members club. So, guys, get involved if you want to and also become a member. You see, I will always read out a member's comment ahead of everybody else. So, Mohit, great to have you here. Let's go, Carlos. Well, let's see how he does. He had a great start, as I say. He was unlucky not to get past Lando Norris there. James just saying, not what Daniel Ricciardo needed today. Meanwhile, that hits just keep coming for Williams. Indeed, I was about to say, Williams, they had to replace what was originally Alex Albon's car and now became Logan Sargent's. Now Alex Albon's crashed his new car, which was Logan Sargent's. I mean, those cars are just taking a battering at the moment. Yeah, it's quite a bit of a high-speed impact there for the two of them, but they're absolutely fine at least, which is good to see. F123 saying, I saw something on Instagram that said Red Bull are going to see how he does here and in China, and if he doesn't perform, he's losing his seat, and Lawson is getting it. What's your thoughts? Well, I mean, I've always said you should wait until about 8 races in before you make that change because you still got to give drivers the chance. I mean, Daniel Ricciardo did a lot better yesterday in qualifying, but this is just not great for him in this one right here. Just see, he does just jerk to the right ever so slightly, which just causes the touch between the two of them. Alex Albon's left tire just loses all of its wheel arches, and as a result, he just goes straight to the wall, can't do anything about it. Unfortunately, it's not a good look for Daniel Ricciardo. James just saying, so are we expecting most cars to switch to hards now? Well, it's an interesting one. I mean, I think you might see that, and then essentially make it a one-stop race and then just go hard and hard. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if people are going to risk starting on the hard tires still. I think you might still see some just holding onto their tires because I think there's a few cars that want to be further up the grid, the likes of Lance Stroll, perhaps. I mean, Alonso started on the softs. I think he will definitely change tire. I wouldn't be surprised if he changed tire because I think it's a bit of an odd one to not hold on to it. But at the same point, I mean, I don't know. Maybe people go into the hards, maybe they don't. Maybe they just employ the same strategies they were always going to, with a two-stop strategy from softs to hards or whatever it is. I don't think you can really afford a one-stop strategy regardless. So I don't know if you'll see too much change, but I do think you might see a couple of start on the hards. I think the Red Bulls had such a brilliant start. They might even consider it though, because they really aren't too much under threat at the front of the grid there. So maybe they'll start on the hards, and that'll just take them even further away from everybody else. Yeah. So Stuart saying, will Lando finally get his first win? I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's been a very, very difficult one. Yanni is saying, I take back what I said about Ricciardo going to kart. I think NASCAR would be better. Well, NASCAR love their crashes. Ricciardo causing one there, of course. F123 saying, I don't have $200, mate. Well, find the $200. This Lando Norris, if he wins the race, it's going to be incredible. Celebrations all around. You spent it on the big McLaren Lego set. Well, I can't fault what you spent it on. It's a great purchase, that. Great purchase. MD saying, like every turn, a collision happened there, most likely. Stefan, I think the red flag is automatic if two cars are involved. No, that's not the case. It's definitely not the case. But I think it's just the amount of damage they saw immediately. They thought this is going to be a lot longer than 2, 3, 4 laps, which is normally what a safety car comes in for. This was going to be a good 8, 9 lap affair. So I think that's why they think they called the red flag. So not the wrong decision, but it was very quick. I will say that. Stuart's just saying, I think Max will win, but it's all on. But let's see. And Russell has to speak to Ricciardo. Not quite sure I understand your comment. I must be honest. I'm very sorry. F123 saying that was Rick's fault. Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately, F123 saying I would start on the mediums and then go to the hards. Again, I still don't think it's a one-stop race. I think the tire degradation is quite high here. Everyone's going to be using the medium and hard tires, but I don't think 2 sets of hard tires will make it to the end here. I think you'll probably have to go medium, hard, or still have to use another pit stop at some point here. So we'll see. MD saying, yeah, Max will likely win. Maybe Hamilton, maybe even Leclerc. Definitely not Hamilton, starting down at 7th. I think that's quite a stretch. He needs to have an exceptional race start and for some other things happening during the race in order for that to happen. But we'll see, says MD. F123 saying, or if I'm at the back, keep the software and then, softs on and then go for the hards for the rest of the race. Again, I still don't think the hards will last that long. About time for a restart time. We still don't have a restart time as of yet. We've still not been told when that's going to happen. They're still fixing things up. All the drivers are chilling around the paddock there. There's no real movement across the board there. We've got some awesome Ferrari fans in the crowd here. There's 5 of them. They are awesome. That is a properly cool. They've got like a samurai Ferrari set with Ferrari, with red horse helmets and everything. I mean, I take my hat off to some of these Japanese fans. They really are very creative. Yeah, I mean, going to the comments, just a lot of people here, which is great to have you all here. So whilst you guys are all here, please sure to smash that like button, and hopefully we'll get a race start very soon. And subscribe if you guys are new. But yeah, we'll still go through the comments just for a little bit. Stuart saying, I think hard is the second best strategy, and well, it might rain. Well, I mean, there's still a small likelihood of rain, but the clouds right now are quite clear. Watching Charles Leclerc on board with him, just the stock standard team radio message just saying there's a crash there, and Charles Leclerc asking if both of them are okay, just confirming they are. Now we've got Yuki Tsunoda's radio. Just asking if he was okay. So Yuki Tsunoda asking about his teammates. So good on Yuki Tsunoda there. And Max Verstappen asking the same thing. Is everybody okay? He says yes. Daniel's out of the car. He is all okay. Not mentioning Alex Albon, no? But obviously, yeah. So all the drivers just checking in to see who's okay. But yes. Yeah, MD saying it's Japan, so it might rain. As I said, there was a bit of rain scheduled for this weekend, but we don't really seem like we're going to have rain right now. There's no likelihood of rain at the moment. So unless that significant changes in the next 20 minutes, I don't think we'll see rain affect our race today. Labour here saying such a shame for Rick. It is such a shame, but I do think unfortunately caused that. It's just again not a good look right now. He's not having a good start to this Grand Prix season at all. F123 saying, damn, the wall got ripped up. Indeed, it did. got very much ripped up. Stefan's still asking, are they back on the grid or in the pits? They're in the pits still. They're all chilling. They're all waiting for things to get fixed up, and then they'll go again. And I'm sure it'll be another normal race restart, and we'll basically just have another race restart, and the race will be exactly the same as it was. Just instead of 53 laps, it'll be 51 laps essentially. Yes, MD saying it's everyone's game, so even Magnussen could win it. I mean, why not? Joe Guan Yu even. Patrick here saying, will they start behind the safety car or standing start again? We still haven't been told what it will be, but I imagine, given how early it is in the race, and because they called an immediate red flag, one imagines they're impending for a standing start. It will be a normal restart. They'll all go onto the grid just like they did 2 laps ago. And they'll get going again. And I think you might see another incident. And if they do find another incident, then it's more likely that they'll have a safety car restart. But I'm fairly certain it'll be a standing start. But yeah, still a red flag, still no indication as to when we're going to get going again. I'm going to go quickly get a glass of water. Do be sure to leave me a comment in the meantime, and I'll come back to it and we can answer some questions and see when it's getting going again as well. The wall is seemingly cleared somewhat, but I'm surprised they haven't fixed it a little bit more than they have already. But they're just putting the vehicle back onto the truck there. There's a few cars going around, leaving that section there. So I think it's actually going to get going again soon. But again, they have to be given a 10-minute warning before they get going again. So all the drivers are still outside of the car. So still a fair while until we get going again in these proceedings. So I'm just going to get myself a water and I'll be back in 2 seconds. And there we go. Race control has just confirmed a race start, 14:32 local time. So that'll be in 11 minutes time. 11 minutes time, we will have a race start again. The race will resume at 1432, which means that's local time, of course. So again, in 11 minutes time, in about 11 minutes, we'll have racing again. So we've got 10 minutes to get going here, and 10 minutes to wait for some action out on track. So be sure to go and check out our description of the video for some interesting things. We've got our channel sponsors there, BITDEFENDER. Again, for all your cybersecurity needs, go and check out BITDEFENDER and get a big discount there using our link there in the description. It'll protect you in this day and age. You need to have internet protection, as I say. So go and check out BITDEFENDER, fantastic company there. As well as ExpressVPN, who can help you watch Formula One, and you can watch alongside me. Yeah. If you go and see all of the links there in the description as well, you can go and see a way to watch it for free and completely legally using ExpressVPN, our partner. Then also go and click on that link in the description. You can go to a downloads page for ExpressVPN using our affiliate link. So be sure to go and check that out. And again, if you guys haven't already, smash that like button. We'll get a race soon. And yeah, we really do appreciate you guys liking this video, and even more so for those who subscribe. I know we saw a member of the channel earlier in the comments section. I believe it was Mohit. It was Mohit. So be sure to consider becoming a member of the channel as well. And of course, again, members have some fancy writing next to their name. Supposed to get some cool benefits as well. And Zhou Guanyu just getting the confirmation that it's going to be a standing restart. So there you go. There's the confirmation. It's going to be a normal restart, no safety car. It's going to be basically going around and what is a formation lap again before they have a standing start. So here's the interesting thing. We've got some cars getting their tires on. Now, this is the interesting thing that a lot of people are interested in seeing is what tires is everybody going to come out on? Are we going to have the hards? Are we going to have the softs, mediums? What are we going to have? Is everybody going to keep the tires on that they had? Or is it going to be a new change of tires? And because, of course, there's an opportunity to change the tires, then you've used two different compounds for the race. So now it's completely up to them when they want to come to the pits. They don't have to have a different compound tire if they manage to change it now. They've already done it if they do so. So yeah, that's the interesting thing that we can see. As Ladiwe says, 11 minutes to the start. Marie Eiler here saying, now we wait. Indeed. Patrick Fisser saying, anyone for coffee? I'm not a big coffee fan, but maybe some people should get a bit of coffee to get going. I know it's a little bit early for some of you in the world. It's certainly a little bit early here. It's not massively early. It's not like the likes of Australia, which is horribly early, but it is still a little bit early here. Here in South Africa, sunny South Africa. Patrick, sorry, F123 saying, ever been to a race? Me, I have not been to a race, unfortunately. I do have a Grand Prix circuit right down the road, and they were both supposed to go and get the Grand Prix back here in South Africa and in Kyalami, of course, very famous circuit. But yeah, due to some stupidity from the owner of the track, or slash the owner of Porsche and the track, he forced the deal out because he wanted more money. He was getting greedy with it. It was pretty much all agreed upon to get the Grand Prix back here in either this year or next year in 2025 or 2024. But yeah, then it fell through. So it's very disappointing because I would have gone there and it would have been fantastic to have gone see a Grand Prix at Kyalami again. Of course, a very famous Grand Prix circuit from history, as history would tell you. Couple of famous incidents there as well, which were rather infamous incidents, as I say, not so fun to remember. Of course, that very famous, horrible scenario where the man ran across the track. That was here in Kyalami. MD saying this will be a fun race and maybe someone that isn't the Dutch Red Bull racer will win. Yes, indeed. Maybe it's a Mexican Red Bull racer. The geologist asking why the Red Bulls have so much hate. Why so much hate? I think it's because they dominate. Everybody loves to hate the team that wins. Look at every other sport. It's very simple. Everybody hates the team that wins. They hate people who win the whole time because it's not their team. It's very simple. You see it in football, you see it in rugby, you see it in basketball, baseball, everything. You see that all the time. The best people are the ones that are hated the most. Michael Schumacher got a lot of hate during his time as well. A lot of people said he was a dirty driver. It was only after he started doing it more consistently that he got real fans across the world, and then started, he came back, and then everybody loved him for coming back, etc. Vettel was hated in the beginning of his career as well. A lot of people didn't like him. They thought he was a spoiled brat, essentially, and that he was very aggressive in the car. But then everyone learned to love him. It's the same sort of thing. Max Verstappen, everybody hates at the moment, but they'll learn to like him later on because, once you start to have the experience behind your name, people can't argue your abilities. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Mark Lawrence here saying, hi, man, I'm new here. Well, great to have you, Mark. Welcome to the stream. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so we can have you around here for a little bit. Naval Portkita saying, Rooibos here in Josie. Yeah, that's interesting. Lynette Stevenson saying, hola. Well, hello, Lynette. The judge saying, Red Bull is allowed to win. There's no rule saying you can't win many races. Do you guys have the same energy for the 103 wins? That, of course, I think referring to Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. Also, to go back to F123's comments as to have I been to a race, I have been to a race. Sorry, I haven't been to a Formula One race. I have been to a race. I watched the Formula A series back here in Kyalami a number of years ago now, which was great to watch. Formula A, I think the series, I don't know if it still continues. I don't think Formula A goes anymore. But of course, that is the series where it's more internationally based a little bit. So yeah, that was great fun watching. We had a South African driver there, and everybody was cheering for him as it goes around. It's always great having a home driver to cheer for. F123 saying, I met my best friend in F121, and we've been friends for 2 years, and we're now going to the 2027 Australian Grand Prix. That's going to be awesome. I mean, I'm surprised you can book for it in 2027 already, or otherwise maybe you're just planning on going to the 2027 one. You're going to save a bit of money, go to it. It's going to be fun. Indeed, I think yeah, old man Vu saying, "I wish I had some J&D and Coke." Well, I mean, it's a bit. Oh, I suppose it's not early in the morning for you to do so. You're all the way that side, but yeah, why don't you go find yourself some? Lynette asking, who is a South African here? So yeah, guys, let us know in the comments if you are South African. Lynette's wanting to know. F123's Ferrari are washed here. F123 again. I do karting when I race. I'm convinced that I am a Senna. Well, if you were a Senna, not a person, you wouldn't be commenting on this thing. You'd be out on the track. But yes, I think it's quite fun being able to go karting. I'm glad you do karting. It's quite fun. Getting involved in a bit of racing. Jackson here. I've not seen Jackson before. I don't believe so. Jackson here in Kenya. Great to have you here. Waiting for the new race for you start. Best of luck to Lewis, the greatest driver of all time. Well, big fan of Lewis Hamilton there in the comments. Great to have you here, Jackson. MD. All I know is that Red Bull have a majority chance to win. Well, that's no doubt. That's been the case for a number of years now. No, here I'm not boasting, but I've been to two races: the Hungaroring and Spa. Well, aren't you lucky? Aren't you lucky? Look at you going to two of some of the best Grand Prix circuits in the world. Very jealous, especially of Spa. I think that's such a cool track to go to. Roxor K here, not seen you before either. Does it feel like the race is only between five teams: Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston? Well, usually that is the case in Formula One. It's not actually a new thing. Normally, you'll find five strong teams and five weaker teams. So we have our new five stronger teams. Sometimes there's only three strong teams or four strong teams, but we do have five at the moment. Aston Martin being one of those. Great to have them there and about. They're not doing as well as they did last season, but I think they still can do something every now and then. I think with a few more upgrades, and I think the car will be there. Lynette saying, I love your stream. It is the first stream I've ever watched. Well, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Alexander Albon is currently in his pits here. Number 23 driver, of course. He's out of this race, and he's just having a chat to his engineers. I think he's just trying to see what happens going forward. He doesn't look particularly upset. But of course, he will be hiding those frustrations. Just a reminder of the standing start procedure will be at 14:32 local time. That is in 2 minutes' time. So we're going to have everybody go for an out lap to line themselves up on the grid beforehand. Now, this is a more interesting thing than the normal start of the race because they have to get going from the pit lane. Now, I can give you a little bit of news immediately. Is the fact that Charles Leclerc is moving on to the medium tire. He's already started on the medium tire, so it does not a change there for Charles Leclerc. So this is where we want to see is what tires is everybody going to come out on. We'll see if the soft tires stay for those who are on the soft tires or if they move to the mediums. I think a lot more people will be starting on the mediums because you don't want to start a race in hards. The hard tire doesn't have the best ability in a race restarting, considering it's a standing start procedure. I don't think anybody wants to risk starting on the hard, so I think the medium tire might be the tire of choice now. Those who started on soft tire might well change their tires. So we're about to get going with what is essentially a second formation lap from the pit lane, and there you go. I think that's confirmation. The Red Bulls are on medium tires still. I think most people will be on the medium tires here. I think it's more watching what is Fernando Alonso on. Is he going to be on the medium, the hard, or the soft tire? So let's see what those people are on. But the tire blankets have been removed. There you go. You've got a soft tire in one of the kick Saubers. Is that Valtteri Bottas or is that Guan Yu Zhou? I need to see. Hard tires here for a Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. So they've changed tires. There you go. Lewis Hamilton started on the mediums. He's changed the hard tires. So there's some tire change already. So we'll go through those tires for you as they start their second formation lap from the pit lane. So they'll line up on the grid in just a little bit. And of course, we're going through our new order. It's slightly different. Verstappen, Perez at the front, Norris still third, Sainz fourth, Alonso fifth, Piastri sixth, Hamilton seventh, Leclerc eighth, Russell ninth, and Hulkenberg now on 10th instead of Yuki Tsunoda. Bottas is now in 11th, and Yuki Tsunoda's dropped all the way down to 12th. And Ocon is up in 13th, Gasly's up in 14th, Stroll's up in 15th now, Magnussen in 16th, Sargent in 17th, and Zhou Guanyu now in 18th. Race control. All cars may overtake the safety car. That's because the safety cars in the pits. It's just a standard procedure that they have to go and do. And the cars are now making their way again around on what is essentially a second formation lap for the day. So we're about to get racing again. F123 asking, is Reese on holiday? Reese will be back. He will be back soon. Lewis Hamilton on brand new hard tires. Indeed, again, starting on the hard tires from the race restart it's an interesting strategy. I'm keen to see what happens there. Noel answering Old Man Rue's question as to whether it was good being at the track, saying it was fantastic, loved the Hungaroring, but Spa was something else indeed. I would love to go to Spa. Mohit, back again here. Great to have you here, our member. I think now the race will be smooth and a podium for Smooth Operator. Well, wouldn't that be fantastic? So looking at the tyres here, yeah, I mean, not too much change, actually. Hamilton's changed, but Alonso's still on the soft tyre. They're still going for it. Hulkenberg, Bottas, Tsunoda still on the soft tyres, while Stroll on the soft tyre. Is moving to the soft tire now instead of starting on the other one. So that's interesting. There's a few new tires here. Charles Leclerc seems to be on new mediums. I think he's on a new set of mediums. So clearly want to try and make up some lap time here. So I mean, there's some interesting decisions being made across the board. I'm surprised people are starting on the soft tires still. Very, very interesting. Yuki Tsunoda starting on older, softer tires as well. 3-lap old soft tires down in 12th. Yeah. Very, very interesting. So we're now entering lap 3. So the lap start, or rather the race start, will be on lap 3, going into lap, well, it's in lap 4. So from lap 3. So we're going to have only 50 laps of this race now remaining for the rest of it. And everybody's lining up now on the grid again for our second start. Liam Lawson just in the shadow of Daniel Ricciardo. It's a very interesting little shot there, of course. Liam Lawson looking to try and take someone's seat and probably Daniel Ricciardo's if he doesn't improve very, very soon. I'm not sure how much time is going to be given still. But yes, everyone now lining up on the grids, and it's going to be a very, very interesting race restart. We saw how quickly the Red Bulls got away the first time round. Will they get away as quickly this time round? Will Norris get away a little bit quicker than he did initially? And yeah, we've got the last few cars now lining up on the front there. And I cannot wait to see what happens this time round. Will we see more fighting? Perez had a decent start, and Verstappen lined up to defend away from Perez. Didn't have to necessarily in the end there because he managed to get enough ahead. But if Perez gets a better start, maybe we'll see the same thing again. So here we go, our second restart, about to get going. The green flag is now waved behind. It was a very elaborate wave. Love it. Absolutely love it. And here we go. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights, and no lights. Racing has begun. And Max Verstappen again goes to defend away. And it's a great restart from the Norris and Sainz. They're much better now. They're right in the back of those Red Bulls there. Everyone going into turn 1. It's a lot more clean this time. But here we go. Alonso's feeling brave on those soft tires, trying to get past Carlos Sainz there. He's going to try and take that 4th position. But Charles Leclerc is making his way past Lewis Hamilton. And he's now moving into 7th position now. He's going to be chasing down Oscar Piastri. But here comes back Lewis Hamilton. Is trying to come back at the man. My word, let's look at this. What's happening here? Everything's still looking more or less the same. Hulkenberg's up a position. Sargent's lost one out in the back there. But the Red Bulls right now still leading this Grand Prix fairly comfortably. Max Verstappen ahead of Sergio Perez. He's now ahead of Lando Norris. Fernando Alonso is getting quite close to the back of the Ferrari ahead of him. That be Carlos Sainz. He's on the soft tyre though, Fernando Alonso, of course, remember. So he would be a little bit quicker. So he's going to try and take advantage of these soft tyres. Needs to get past the man to try and get as many points as possible and try and use Carlos Sainz as a buffer to Piastri behind him. Looking immediately, Perez is almost a whole second behind Verstappen already, and still clean racing throughout the rest of it. Stroll's all the way up in 12th position. So he's managed to do very, very well there for himself. But clean racing this time round as we're in lap 4 of this Grand Prix here, and now the Red Bulls are just starting to take it away. And yeah, Lando Norris is getting chased down by his previous teammate, Carlos Sainz, very, very quickly. Carlos Sainz in that Ferrari is catching him quite quickly there, so he needs to just be careful and monitor that situation there, because Lando Norris will have to deal with Carlos Sainz this lap, because of course this season DRS is enabled pretty much immediately afterwards, although it doesn't seem to be enabled just yet. I think they'll go around one more time and then it'll be enabled. But yeah, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, they're currently fighting it out there in 3rd place. Fernando Alonso is dropping slightly behind Carlos Sainz, so not necessarily a good decision to go onto the soft tire, because I think it's going to be a bit of a waste if I'm frank. But clean racing so far in lap 4 now, or lap 5 rather, of the Suzuka Grand Prix. Yeah, the disappointing thing here is Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz have already pretty much lost sight of the Red Bulls ahead of them. The Red Bulls are so far ahead of them that it's just going. Ocon on the radio saying that Pierre Gasly gave him a hit at the side. Let me know if it's okay. So his teammate apparently just brushed again to the side of them. Those two, we've seen some very interesting things in the past. Not the best of friends they are, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that fares. Just going back to a couple of comments there. Mohit saying, watching the race with Mark and Reese together is the best time of the whole week with a heart. Aw, isn't that so cute? Thank you so much. Reese will be back. Don't worry. Reese will be back very, very, very soon. Yanni is saying, Max is my favorite driver. And although Red Bull is very impressive, I don't like the name Red Bull. And I hate the energy drink. I hate all energy drinks. They taste horrible. I will say this. I'm not a big fan of the Red Bull energy drink either. But the company itself is very cool. Yeah. So racing out on track right now, Max Verstappen puts in the fastest lap, of course, from the front there. And now we do see DRS is open. Fernando Alonso does still have it at least. And there you go. George Russell's making a move on Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda managed to make his way back up to 9th position, but now back down into 10th as George Russell on the hard tire overtakes Tsunoda on the soft. So that's not a great look for the RB car. Lance Stroll is down in 13th position now on the soft tire. He's trying to catch Esteban Ocon. Now, George Russell had a terrible race restart there. Esteban Ocon, you can just see him. He takes a little bit of a touch from Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly having to avoid action there. It's not really Pierre Gasly's fault. He has to avoid the RB of Tsunoda on his inside. So has to go to the left there and just slightly touches his teammate there, Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon manages to make his way past him again, though, later on. Just cuts to the inside and takes him. Well done. DRS again, just confirming that is enabled. Fernando Alonso, though, has already dropped out of it. Pretty much everybody has dropped out of the DRS zone already, except for Lance Stroll, who's 0.3 seconds behind Esteban Ocon. I'm surprised he hasn't managed to take him yet. But yeah, that's who we're watching. Valtteri Bottas is also within DRS of Yuki Tsunoda ahead of him. But Fernando Alonso struggling to keep up with Carlos Sainz ahead of him. And he's even on the soft tire, even though Carlos Sainz is on the medium. So not such a great strategy for me for Alonso to have started on the soft tire again. I think they should have moved to the medium tire. But oh well, we'll have to carry on the race. He can't get bogged down on that. I agree with F1 23. Like it up, boys and girls. Only 69 out of 490 people watching. We can do better. Yes, please be sure to like the video. Love it. Yeah, what's a gap between Verstappen and Perez? That car is tailor-made for Verstappen. Well, it's not that huge a gap. It's only 1.2 seconds right now, but it is still a gap that is outside DRS, and I think Verstappen will start to gain some more time away from that. If I'm frank, right now, guys, it's not looking good for a very excitable Grand Prix right now. Everybody is not really keeping up with each other. Following is not looking good right now. The only people following at a decent length is right down all the way in 14th, really. That's Gasly, essentially. Ocon has been taken now by Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll on the soft tyres has managed to get past Ocon, who's on the hard. So yeah, both Aston Martins opting to start on the soft tyre. I'm not sure it's the best strategy from Frank from Aston Martin, especially for Fernando Alonso. Perez's gap now to Verstappen has dropped to 2 seconds. I think he's had a bit of a moment watching a replay. Yes, indeed, he does have a bit of a moment. He just goes onto the curb a bit too much, gets caught on it, and then has to go into the grass section a little bit. So yeah, that cost him about almost a whole second there. So he's now lost quite a bit of time to Max Verstappen ahead of him. So a crucial mistake from Sergio Perez, who could have looked at a race win today if he was just keeping his wits about him, but now trying to claw his way back to Max Verstappen ahead of him again. Valtteri Bottas is into the pits now, and yeah, he's going to move on to a new set of tires. So immediately changing from those soft tires to something else. There's a 4-second pit stop, so not the quickest. Yeah, I was about to say, as the commentators saying, I was just about to say the same thing. Valtteri Bottas got into the pits, a 4-second pit stop. It's not a good pit stop, but you know what? Given their recent history, it's not that bad because, quite frankly, they have had some terrible pit stops in the past now. Kick Sauber's pit team is arguably looking at becoming the worst pit stop crew of all time. with their start this season so far. It's really not been good from them at all. Sergio Perez has not dropped that gap to 2.3 seconds, so he really has dropped quite far off the back of Max Verstappen after that mistake. Carlos Sainz is only 1.3 seconds behind Lando Norris. Lando Norris is 2 seconds behind Sergio Perez. Nobody's really within DRS range of each other, with the exception of Magnussen, Zhou, who's in DRS range of Gasly ahead of them. But everybody else, though, struggling to keep up. Watching a replay of Kick Sauber's pit crew again, and it's the front right tire that seems to have the issue. No, not. Just seems to be a slow pit stop. I mean, I don't know what it is with this team, but they just can't seem to pit at all. MG saying when you look up a W in the Urban Dictionary, an image of Max appears. Well, it's quite fun. F123 saying, I wonder who will win, aka get third place. So Noda's now in the pits as well, and so is Zhou Guanyu. He's also in the pits. Let's see how Kick Sauber fares this time around. Zhou Guanyu, of course, starting right at the back of the race. And let's see if he can manage to get a few more places today. Yuki Tsunoda has come in his home Grand Prix and moving on to the hard tire in his RB car. And Valtteri Bottas will get past Yuki Tsunoda. So it's a key move from Kick Sauber. They've managed to get past Yuki Tsunoda in a pit stop strategy there. So great little move there from Kick Sauber's Valtteri Bottas. Even with the pit stop being slow, they managed to get past Yuki Tsunoda to make a place up, essentially. Great work there from Bottas. And Bottas has actually been enjoying the Kick Sauber this weekend, to be fair. He's actually done quite well. Watching a replay of Kevin Magnussen getting past one of the Alpines there on the medium tyre is Kevin Magnussen and takes him into the first corner. Of course, DRS is only available on the start-finish straight in Suzuka, nowhere else. So we're following on board with Carlos Sainz, who's trying to chase down Lando Norris ahead of him. And Fernando Alonso's really dropped off the back of Carlos Sainz. Needs to come into the pits very soon, one imagines, because he's going to get caught by Piastri soon. Sainz on the radio saying, yeah, I see Lando is struggling a bit. So, yeah, I was noting a bit of struggles for the McLaren driver. Carlos Sainz is managing to catch him quite quickly. He's now almost under a second to Lando Norris ahead of him. He might have actually, no, he's just out of DRS range of him, but he's catching him very quickly. He is catching him very quickly. DRS is now open for Carlos Sainz. So we're now going to have a battle for third here, and there's also a battle for sixth between Charles Leclerc and Piastri. That's what it is. Charles Leclerc is following Piastri with DRS, and Carlos Sainz is following Lando Norris, soon to be very closely. So watching Williams here of Logan Sargent trying to take the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. Tried to go alongside him, but had to dive out of the move. Pierre Gasly defending well there in lap 9 of 53. So let's see what happens in this battle here for sixth between Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. Charles Leclerc getting very close to the back of Oscar Piastri now. So I think we're going to see some moves soon. Verstappen on the radio. Bit of banter between the race engineer and Max Verstappen, that being Gianpiero Lambiase, of course. Having a bit of a chat with the world champion Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen just being asked how the tyre's faring and saying, yeah, no, good. Maybe just saying it's basically as expected. And then he says, yeah, maybe 1 or 2 laps slower. And then Lambiase is saying, yeah, won't say I told you so, but yeah, anyway, carry on. So clearly Lambiase said it would be lasting 2 laps lower than what Max Verstappen thought. But meanwhile, Charles Leclerc catching to the back of Oscar Piastri very quickly and just having a little look down that inside there, but not able to make that move just yet. So, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we've got a little bit of movement here, seeing if Charles Leclerc can catch up to Piastri. Russell saying the steering is starting to feel a bit strange. A lot of vibrations. Affirmative. We are looking at that data, says George Russell's race engineer. So interesting. There's a few problems for George Russell here. What's another interesting thing is Oscar Piastri is catching up to Alonso very quickly. I'm surprised Alonso hasn't come into the pits. He's on the soft tire still. 3.5 seconds now behind Carlos Sainz. He's really dropped down quite significantly. Leclerc, of course, trying to take Oscar Piastri for that 6th place position. Hamilton hunting them down ahead of them. Russell behind him. Lance Stroll's now up into 10th. He was doing well to start on the soft side. I think that wasn't a bad strategy, but now he needs to come into the pits soon as well. One imagines that Alonso and Lance Stroll will be coming to the pits very, very soon. Not sure it was the best decision for Alonso to start on the soft tire. I think the medium tire would have been a lot better for him. He's got Piastri who's going to catch up to him very soon. He's 1.1 seconds behind Alonso, so he really needs to get a little bit of a move on before he starts coming under pressure from the McLaren. The McLaren of Oscar Piastri would love to get within DRS range of Alonso, though. Try and use Alonso as a buffer, get past him as quickly as he possibly can, because Charles Leclerc is right on the back of Oscar Piastri now. Carlos Sainz desperately trying to catch up to Lando Norris as well for that DRS, but just out of range. Just as Piastri is just out of range of Alonso ahead of him. But Charles Leclerc's got DRS on Piastri. Will he make a move this time around on the start-finish straight? Let's see how close he gets. Hamilton on the radio also saying, we are seeing high degradation on the medium runners, being told that by his race engineer Bono, of course. Logan Sargent, again, still fighting with this Alpine of Pierre Gasly. Can't seem to get past him yet, but he's right on the back, and one imagines he's going to use DRS now, and he should be able to have DRS. He didn't have the best exit here, so he's going to see if he can apply it. He's going to drive down his inside, I'm sure, and he's going to make that move into turn one. Does Sargent, and he moves into 13th position ahead of the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. So Logan Sargent and Liz Williams making a move. So it looks like the hard tire is the preferred tire. Ooh, sorry about that. Lap 11 of 53. And Logan Sargent has moved into 13th. He's now going to be chasing down Kevin Magnussen ahead of him. He's actually gaining on him. Kevin Magnussen's on the medium tire, Logan Sargent on the hard tire. Norris now being told to box. I think this is to avoid the overtake from Carlos Sainz behind him very, very shortly. Charles Leclerc is also going to be trying to take Oscar Piastri. I'm interested they didn't box Oscar Piastri immediately. So, yeah, Oscar Piastri is coming under a little bit of pressure from Leclerc behind him. But I think the hard tire is definitely the better tire. So I think people want to come into the pits as soon as possible because the hard tire is clearly the favorite. It really is doing quite well. And you go, Lando Norris is now in the pits, so he's going to start dropping positions, of course, as a result of that. Let's see how quick a pit stop it is for Lando Norris in that McLaren. He's the only one heading into the pits right now on those medium tires, so he's quite early into the pits here. Let's see how he fares. It's a decent pit stop. It's not brilliant, but it's a decent pit stop. 2.3. That's it's a good pit stop. I take it back. That's a good pit stop. But we have, of course, seen record-breaking pit stops from McLaren before. A 1.8 second pit stop was that record that they set last season. But a 2.3, good stop there, and they're going to try and avoid the overtake from Carlos Sainz soon. Meanwhile, on board with Charles Leclerc, will they now send Piastri into the pits as a result of Charles Leclerc getting close to the back of Piastri? Piastri's managed it well. He still hasn't been taken by the Ferrari driver. Fernando Alonso is still out there, but he's managed to gain a little bit of a buffer to Piastri behind him. He was almost under threat, but not. Oh dear, we've got a very, very slow stop here for Zhou Guanyu. 5.4 seconds. I think you're serving a penalty. Why? What happened there? I think we're watching just a replay of Zhou Guanyu's pit stop because that was a fair while ago now that he pitted. No, he's coming to the pits again. Why is he coming to the pits again? Oh dear, I think there must be problems for Zhou Guanyu's Kick Sauber because he's come to the pits twice already since the race restarts. So, yeah, Kick Sauber again having problems. Battle for 7th now brewing. Russell's right on the back of Hamilton, of course, the two Mercedes drivers. And as I thought, Piastri's going to come into the pits now to avoid the overtake from Charles Leclerc. So, Piastri in that McLaren coming into the pits early on here. I think it's because also the tyre degradation on those mediums is quite high. So, Piastri's into the pits now. And Charles Leclerc will take his place and move into 5th. Alonso is still in 4th, still on those soft tyres. Him and his teammate Lance Stroll, the last ones on the soft tyres. Again, still not sure it's the best strategy. Although now saying that Lance Stroll is not coming into the pits. Oscar Piastri and slightly slow on the back left there for him. 2.9 seconds as a result. Lance Stroll's pit stop. Let's see how quick his is. And Lance Stroll comes out of the pits 2.6 seconds. And a Kick Sauber of Valtteri Bottas is trying to make a move on Pierre Gasly. He gets past him into 13th place. Gasly is dropping quite quickly here in his Alpine. He's down into 14th. Hamilton on the radio, asking if he should let George Russell by. Being asking his team if he should do the right thing. Very interesting from Lewis Hamilton. I've never heard that from Lewis Hamilton before. Should I let my teammate by, essentially? Very interesting. I'm confused by that. Zhou Guanyu's in the pits again. I think he's going to have to retire this car because he's come into the pits once again. Lots of problems for this Kickstarter, clearly, of Zhou Guanyu. Disappointing for him. He's not going to have a good race. I think they're retiring the car. No. I think the engine must be overheating. I think he must be having overheating problems. And if he is, I think may as well retire the car because he's basically going back to the pits, staying there. They're not working on the car. They're just waiting for the car to basically like cool down almost. Very, very weird. Like nobody's working on the car. Alonso's not into the pits. So there we go. We've got Alonso back at the pits. Let's see where he comes out. I think he's going to drop quite quickly, unfortunately. He's going to move on to the medium tire. It was an all right pit stop for Aston Martin there. Not brilliant, but not bad either. It was let's see, is it going to come up with the stats here? 2.3. No, what am I talking about? I can't see things anymore. Alonso comes out in 8th position, just ahead of Kevin Magnussen, but Kevin Magnussen might be fighting for him as Piastri takes Ocon into 10th. Zhou Guanyu saying we have to retire the car, gearbox problem. Disappointing for Zhou Guanyu. He is out of this race due to a gearbox problem. He is now in the garage, and we've lost a third car today. Alex Albon, Ricciardo, and Zhou. 3 different teams have only got 1 driver left, and now Valtteri Bottas will be concerned for his car in case he has the same sort of things. Yuki Tsunoda watching a replay of him in his RB car. Is this him getting past the Alpine? I think it is. He goes around the outside in the first sector there, and good overtake. Brave overtake. Brave overtake from Yuki Tsunoda. Great overtake there. I'm also watching an overtake here from Oscar Piastri on Kevin Magnussen. He moves now into 9th place. The fastest lap, notably, has been put in by Lando Norris on the hard tyre. So again, that hard tyre is proving good. Kevin Magnussen now still in the back of Oscar Piastri after that overtake, though. So yeah, let's see how it fares here for Kevin Magnussen. Can he hold up? No, he can't. Clearly, Piastri's just pulled away a little bit. So Piastri and Norris on those hard tyres, strutting their stuff now on those McLarens. They're starting to do all right. Getting some more track time found for themselves. Perez is 5 seconds behind his teammate Max Verstappen in lap 15 of 53 laps. Still quite a lot of racing still to happen here, but the gaps are proving quite large already. Verstappen to Perez, 5 seconds. Perez to Sainz, 4.4. Sainz to Leclerc, 7.7 seconds. So we've got some big gaps throughout the field here. And watching a potential overtake here from the, who is this? Is it the Williams? It is the Williams. So the Williams of Logan Sargent, he moves past Esteban Ocon in his Williams into 11th position. So Sargent having a good little race so far. Is making up a lot of positions quickly, and he's going to now try and take Kevin Magnussen, who's in 10th for a point. Let's see if Sargent can get points today. Of course, he's the last remaining Williams. Sargent is doing quite well, as Lindiwe says in the comments. I think, yeah, it's actually quite interesting to watch. He's making moves. He's getting past cars. I do think that Williams is quite significantly quicker than the other cars around it quickly, because the other ones just seem to be dropping like flies. The Williams moving quite quickly. Box has been called for Carlos Sainz. He's going to be coming into the pits now. We've got a little bit of a train here behind Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon, Bottas, and Tsunoda fighting it out for 12th position. We've got more box messages coming in. Sergio Perez this time is into the pits. There you go, one of our front runners into the pits. Sainz is also into the pits. Let's see how quick these two are here. If there's a small stuff up in the Red Bull pit stop, we might see Sainz try and capitalize on it. Here we go. Perez, a crucial stop for him. Onto the medium tyre. It's a great pit stop from Red Bull there. And Sainz, also a good pit stop from him. Both of them, I think, are 2.3. No, Perez 2.1. Quickest pit stop of the day. Sainz 2.3. Sainz comes out still in 7th position. Perez is in 6th. Alonso following them in 8th position. And there you go, seeing some action from Valtteri Bottas. Gets past Esteban Ocon for 12th position. And Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly in those Alpines seem to be struggling a little bit. Yuki Tsunoda now following that Alpine also very closely. Will he try to make that same move that he did earlier? It's going to be very interesting to see if he manages to do it on the other Alpine. He did it on Pierre Gasly earlier. Will he try it on Esteban Ocon? He was looking at it, but he's unable to do so. Esteban Ocon clearly just making his car a little bit big on the track, not allowing Yuki Tsunoda to make that overtake. Old Man Vu saying Norris is flying indeed. Norris has got the fastest lap. He's only 0.2 seconds behind Hamilton now. He is motoring through. He's 2 seconds quicker than Hamilton. Verstappen being told to box. I think the hard tyres clearly the better tyre out here. Hamilton and Russell obviously on older hard tyres. So Norris is catching up to somebody who's yet to pit. You'll see Norris get quite high up. And of course, Norris is now ahead of Sergio Perez, but Norris will have to come to the pits. Not anytime soon, but eventually. But I think it's going to be interesting to monitor the strategy from Lando Norris. Max Verstappen in the pits, of course, he's not coming out. He's going to lose the positions at the front there to Charles Leclerc and to George Russell. And we're seeing an overtake attempt from Lando Norris on Lewis Hamilton. He goes around the outside and does make it stick. Fantastic overtake from Lando Norris there. He really is flying, old man. Really is motoring. And he moves into fourth position again, which is essentially second right now, because Russell and Leclerc still need to pit. Max Verstappen moves past George Russell for second position. Leclerc currently leads the Suzuka Grand Prix, but not for long, I imagine. I'm sure he's going to go heading into the pits very soon. Lap 17 of 53. Verstappen in second, George Russell in third. Lando Norris with the fastest lap, motoring up there in fourth. He's also within DRS range of George Russell already, so he's going to be taking George Russell now as well. Lewis Hamilton is fighting with Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez trying to go around the outside, and now the inside. He's right on the back of Lewis Hamilton. He's all over him on the medium tyres as Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen also came out in the medium tyres. The Red Bulls opted for the mediums twice again. And Sergio Perez really trying to catch up to the Mercedes ahead of him. And let's see what he does. Because he goes around the inside of Lewis Hamilton. It's the fastest corner of the track. And Lewis Hamilton has to concede. Hamilton has to concede it to Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez moves into fifth position, chasing down Lando Norris ahead of him. Hamilton moves down into sixth position. And Lando Norris now trying to make a move on George Russell for second place. He goes down his inside and makes it so easy. That McLaren is truly flying right now. I mean, these cars can barely keep up with it. Will Norris be able to try and chase down Verstappen? I mean, on the hard tyre, he's only 2 seconds behind him. And they both pit stopped more or less at the same time. I mean, the 2-lap gap. I mean, Norris is really motoring. He's motoring. He's in a net second place right now, and he's catching Verstappen. Sure. Very, very quick from Lando Norris. We've got to keep an eye on that. That might be something interesting to watch for the rest of the race. McLaren's on these hard tyres are flying. Piastri struggling a little bit, though, but Norris, at least in his, just motoring through the grid. Great to see. And Verstappen and Perez opted for the medium tyre to try and gain some time to those behind them. Of course, the medium tyre is supposedly quicker than the hard tyre, but Lando Norris in this hard tyre is staying with Verstappen. He's got a fastest lap still to his name. Third place, about 2.2 seconds behind Max Verstappen. If he can just keep that gap there and thereabouts, he will be better because Max Verstappen's tyre degradation will significantly increase quicker than the hard tyres. So, yeah, Norris just needs to stay at around that 2-second gap, and it'll start to drop soon. So, very interesting tactics being played out here by McLaren. Could be a good day for them. Let's see how it pans out. Sergio Perez is chasing Russell for fourth. He's going to get past him the same place he took Lewis Hamilton earlier, and he does the exact same thing. Great overtake for Sergio Perez. He moves into fourth place, effective third. Leclerc still needs to come into the pits. He's currently first at the moment, but the interval to the gap to Max Verstappen behind is 2.7 seconds, and it's going to start dropping quickly soon, I imagine. Norris again is down to 2 seconds to Verstappen ahead of him, so he's still managing to stay within Max Verstappen's grasp. So very interesting to see from the McLaren. He's now under 2 seconds to Verstappen ahead of him. Come on, Lando Norris. He's motoring here on these hard tyres. Obviously, it's Red Bull. We still expect them to pull something out of the fire. Hamilton on the radio saying tyres are dropping. Front right is dead. They might need to come into the pits. Hamilton desperate to try and keep his tyres going, but he's really losing a lot of time. Yuki Tsunoda now making a move on the Williams of Logan Sargent. He's trying to go around the outside to turn one, but Logan Sargent actually does very well just to pick a better line and just come out ahead of him in the corner there. But Yuki Tsunoda will try to pounce maybe on that corner that he took both not both, but the Alpine of Pierre Gasly, but unable to do that same move now. And Logan Sargent just manages to stay ahead of him in that Williams for now. But Yuki Tsunoda trying to work his way through the grid again, and Lance Stroll's in hot pursuit of Yuki Tsunoda as well. lap 19 of 53, and things are starting to heat up here. Lando Norris, unfortunately, though, having said that, is losing a bit of time to Max Verstappen, but we're seeing an overtake here from Carlos Sainz on Lewis Hamilton, and Carlos Sainz does get past him on that medium tire. Hamilton probably needs to get into the pits soon. He's really a little bit struggling out there. He's not having a fantastic race for himself so far. Carlos Sainz moves into 6th, now chasing down George Russell ahead of him. Lando Norris did drop quite significantly to Verstappen ahead of him. I think Verstappen put the pedal on a little bit, 1.6 seconds now behind Leclerc. Norris is now 2.4 seconds behind Verstappen. So Verstappen's just put the pedal down a little bit. Norris, again, still needs to try and stick with Verstappen as much as he can. Can't allow that gap to get too big for Verstappen to have a bit of a clear road ahead of him, but Norris needs to find another gear here because Max Verstappen really is starting to motor away from him. But Norris has been flying so far, so quite interesting. Maybe he can try and keep it up a little bit. Katie here saying hello. So Teresa saying he's not going to hear you. Well, I did actually. Katie saying hello. Great to see you here. And then the comment is deleted. I enjoy that. Naval here saying go Lando. MG saying Max go Foster. Be Sonic 2. Yes, indeed. Clearly a Max Verstappen fan here. Ocon is into the pits here. And I think we might see Lewis Hamilton and George Russell into the pits soon. The tire degradation seems high for these Mercedes. I'm not sure it's going to be the same for everybody else, but it seems for the Mercedes at least quite high. Leclerc has still been backed on those medium tires, still out there, has yet to pit on those mediums. 18 lap old mediums now. So he needs to consider pit stopping soon. Max Verstappen's going to be taking him very soon. He's right on the back of him here. Here we go. Max Verstappen is catching Leclerc ahead of him quite quickly. He's in second as Max Verstappen on much fresher medium tires. Leclerc on old medium tires, 18 lap old medium tires. I think we might well see Max Verstappen get past Leclerc here. But will Leclerc make it difficult for him? I doubt it. I don't think Leclerc is in a race for first, so I don't think he will try to fight this too much. Max Verstappen now has DRS on Charles Leclerc going into turn 1. Let's see how quickly Charles Leclerc will have to move over for. He does defend. He goes to the inside, and Max Verstappen just goes around the outside as easy as that. It's almost as if Leclerc actually let him pass slightly. It looked like an almost early defense, but then basically just said, you know what, go past. But Charles Leclerc does, of course, try to keep up with Max Verstappen. Sainz has DRS on George Russell ahead of him, but was unable to get past him. Surprised he wasn't able to get past George Russell there and move into 5th position. He can't afford to get stuck behind George Russell for too long, otherwise he's going to lose positions to Sergio Perez quite quickly. Hamilton on the radio saying, change the strategy. Change the strategy, saying, copy Lewis, yeah, we are just waiting for the window to clear. Lewis not happy with the strategy right now, so he wants to move on to something else. Alonso is catching Lewis Hamilton, so clearly Lewis Hamilton wants to try and move as quickly as possible. Alonso is going to be taking Lewis Hamilton soon. He's within DRS range of him. And Sainz chasing down George Russell. He's going to make a move right here. He's trying to try and go down the inside. Is he going to be able to get a good enough exit on George Russell? Oh, my word. So close. Good racing, though, between the two of them. Carlos Sainz right on the back of George Russell coming into this fast sector of the track. So he's going to be able to take him here. And a great overtake long-term there from Carlos Sainz. He moves into not 4th position, into 5th position ahead of George Russell. Now chasing down Sergio Perez, who's in 4th. Lando Norris has got that gap to Leclerc to 2.2 seconds. Leclerc's gap to Verstappen's about almost 2 seconds as well. So the current gap to Verstappen from Lando Norris is now sitting at 4.4 seconds. Disappointing for Lando Norris. I was thinking he was going to try and catch Max Verstappen, but Max Verstappen just in a class of his own. As Yanni says, it's mean of Max to be teasing Lando, making him think he can catch him and then just going away so quickly. Indeed, exactly that. George Russell does have DRS on Carlos Sainz ahead of him, but not going to make much of a move. But now Alonso with DRS on Hamilton. Where's he going to go? He's going to go diving down the inside, and he does take Fernando Alonso does take Lewis Hamilton for 7th position, and Alonso now in 7th on those medium tires, going to be chasing down the other Mercedes of George Russell very soon. So Lando Norris is now coming under pressure from Perez behind him. He went aggressively on those hard tires, and he's now going to have to fight with Sergio Perez right behind him for the battle for third. Perez has caught Lando Norris very, very quickly, and now he's going to have to try and deal with this. How hard is Lando Norris going to defend from the Red Bull behind him? This Red Bull clearly has a lot more pace than him. Lando Norris trying to get away from that Red Bull as quickly as possible for this battle for third. And Perez is going to be fancying his chances here, even before the DRS zone. He's right on the back of him. Where is he going to go? Ocon on the radio saying, okay, Esteban, we need to push now, please. Push now. I'm keen to see what the response is. And Ocon says, yeah, I'm pushing. What are you talking about? As Sergio Perez does take Lando Norris before the DRS zone. But now, and it's actually very clever from Sergio Perez because now he has DRS and on Lando Norris to go away from him on that start finish. A great racing from Sergio Perez. He's now third position ahead of Lando Norris and already got a huge gap up to him because of that DRS. And Lando Norris drops down into fourth position. Alonso takes Russell as Russell moves into the pit lane. And moving on to another set of hard tires of George Russell. That was a quick pit stop. My word, never mind. Whatever. It's 2.6 seconds for Russell there in the pit stop. I think it was just quick on the front left. Or front right, rather. Stroll's in the pits, Tsunoda's in the pits, Sargent in the pits, Bottas in the pits, Magnussen in the pits. It's pit time, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's coming out of the pits and into the pits. Very, very interesting to see all the changes here. More or less halfway through the race. Not quite, but more or less halfway through the race. Piastri going faster than Hamilton as well. Piastri chasing down Lewis Hamilton. He's 0.5 seconds behind him. Hamilton really not having fun out of there. Look at this inside the pit lane. We've got racing in the pit lane. Lance Stroll comes out ahead of Magnussen 13th, and Yuki Tsunoda in 11th comes out ahead of all of them. My word, he's managed to get past all of these cars in the pit lane, and he's into 11th position for Yuki Tsunoda. There's a huge number of cars coming out of the pit lane at the same time there. And we've got a few overtakes happening here. Lance Stroll makes an aggressive overtake on Esteban Ocon and moves into 12th position ahead of the Alpine. So Piastri right in the back of Hamilton here. Hamilton's really struggling on these old hard tires here. Piastri trying to take Hamilton for 7th. They're coming into the DRS zone now. Piastri with the DRS is surely going to take Hamilton, although Hamilton's coming into the pits. It's a box for him. He's going to have DRS from him, though, for this main straight at least. And he uses it, and Hamilton eventually comes into the pits. Charles Leclerc is still out there on these medium tires. He's still staying out there for a long time. Mercedes are not having fun right now. Watching a replay of the pits, all of them coming into the pits at the exact same time. I mean, my word, talk about brilliant pit strategies from everybody. Just trying to come out ahead. And oh, my word, brilliant pit stop from the Haas. And he managed to get out ahead of the Kick Sauber and the Williams. I mean, great pit stop there. Tsunoda saying on the radio, good job, guys. Well done. Thank you, guys. Top job. Well, he came in behind pretty much everybody, and his pit stop was so good that he managed to come out ahead of everybody. Great pit stop strategy there from RB and for Tsunoda, and he comes out in the, well, not quite in the points, but in 11th position, chasing down for all the points. Hulkenberg still needs to pit, and I think when he does, Tsunoda will probably have an effective 10th position. Lance Stroll came out in 12th there, but I mean, he was right alongside in the slow lane to Kevin Magnussen, I think it was. So interesting to see if that'll be looked at a little bit. But Lance Stroll and Yuki Tsunoda are going to be fighting soon for that 11th place position. Lance Stroll's within a second of Tsunoda, so one imagines there's going to be a bit of fighting there, as there is fighting now between Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc, as Sergio Perez is within DRS range of Charles Leclerc and catching him so quickly. The battle for fourth is about to begin, though. Carlos Sainz is going to be within striking distance of Lando Norris in 1 lap time. And the fastest lap has now just been put in by George Russell, of all people. So the Mercedes trying to find a little bit of pace there. And Russell has, as I said, put in that first, well, not the first, but the fastest lap there in 8th position there. Charles Leclerc is going to be taken by Sergio Perez within this lap now. Sergio Perez catching that Ferrari so quickly ahead of him. Sergio Perez waiting maybe to see if Charles Leclerc is going to go into the pits. I'm surprised Charles Leclerc hasn't gone into the pits yet. I think they're going for a much shorter strategy here for Charles Leclerc. Not as many pit stops. I think they're going to move on to the hard tyre and then just stay on the hard tyre for the rest of the race, perhaps. Charles Leclerc in second position, still on these old medium tyres, the oldest tyres on the grid. So still not pitted, in second position, 8 seconds behind Verstappen, holding up the rest of the grid a little bit. And I'm sure he'll come into the pits soon, but he'll come into the hard tyre, one imagines, and maybe stay on the hard tyres for the rest of the race. Interesting strategy here from Ferrari. Again, though, would it work? We saw an interesting strategy for Leclerc in qualifying. It didn't work. Let's see if it'll work this time round. 8 seconds is the gap from Max Verstappen to Charles Leclerc in second. Perez is going to take Charles Leclerc now on the start-finish straight. His DRS is wide open. Does Charles Leclerc make it difficult for him? He puts his car a little bit in the middle of the track. He goes to the inside. Sergio Perez can't get past him. So Charles Leclerc not letting him by very easily. I think he's trying to hold Perez up a little bit. Hamilton's radio saying, how much time did I lose? It says just traffic and degradation. So he didn't lose supposedly positions is what they're saying. They're saying he doesn't lose position, but he has lost time through the tires and degradation. So Mercedes not necessarily as concerned, but I think they should be concerned. There's a bit of a problem there. 8th and 9th position right now on those hard tires, fresh hard tires, and still not managing to get past too many people. Medium tires only near the front of the grid. Oh my word! Charles Leclerc goes off the pits, off the road there, and he loses that place to Perez, and now he's going to be coming under pressure from Lando Norris behind him. Lando Norris is right in the back of him. Charles Leclerc needs to come into the pits there. I think his tyres are a little bit old there, and he was struggling to defend away from Sergio Perez, but now having to try and defend away from Lando Norris in fourth position. Lando Norris is in fourth, and Charles Leclerc in third, but he's coming under a lot of pressure, and Charles Leclerc really needs to come into the pits now. These medium tyres clearly giving in a little bit, and just I don't know if that was maybe just a lapse of concentration, or maybe perhaps the tyres are a little bit old. Norris asking why he wants to box now. They've been told to box, and he wants to ask why so early. Charles Leclerc still trying to manage these tyres. I don't know if he's going to come into the pit still. Will he try to take these tyres a little bit longer? Again, I think he's going for a long strategy here. So he's trying to keep these tyres going for as long as possible, but going off there will not help him at all. And he's still not going into the box. I mean, he's still going to stay out there on these medium tyres. He's managed to respond. No, he's not. He's going to go into the pits, as is Lando Norris. It's going to be crucial here for the two of them, and a little bit of a lock-up there for Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris on the radio. It's defending away from Russell, says Norris's engineers, to defend away from Russell. So Norris and Charles Leclerc in the pits here. Let's see where Charles Leclerc comes out. Will he come out ahead of him? It's slow for both of them, and Charles Leclerc does come out ahead of them. And Lando Norris's pit stop slightly slower than Charles Leclerc's. Charles Leclerc comes out ahead. Charles Leclerc now on those hard tyres. Is he going to try and keep those hard tyres? Oh my word, Charles Leclerc comes out ahead of George Russell, but Lando Norris does not. So, interesting there. Ferrari, actually brilliant strategy from them so far. Huge for Leclerc. He's managed to make up positions here. He's now in 6th ahead of Russell on the brand new set of hard tyres. And Lando Norris is now going to get past George Russell to try and catch up to him. So, great from Ferrari for one strategy working a little bit. Moves into 6th, does Charles Leclerc on fresh hard tyres. Will he try to take these tyres to the end? Because he'd used the medium tyre for a good 24, 25 laps. So I imagine he's on a one-stop strategy. He's going to stay in these hard tyres for the rest of the race. So Charles Leclerc could try and make up some positions here. Very interesting race to watch for Charles Leclerc. Just watching that mistake, though, that he made to allow Sergio Perez out. He just breaks into the corner too late. I think that's what happens. He just broke way too late there. Goes slightly into the gravel, comes back onto the track. Does well, though, to stay ahead of Lando Norris. And now effectively coming out in 6th position ahead of George Russell. Brilliant from Ferrari there. Charles Leclerc also managed to get a bit of a gap to George Russell already. Very interesting. Carlos Sainz, though, in the other Ferraris in 3rd position, quite comfortably there. Fernando Alonso, rather, is in 4th position, quite comfortable in his medium tyre as well. He's about 4 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri. And I'm interested in seeing what happens for this Aston Martin as well, Fernando Alonso, because I think he's actually quietly pattering along there and doing all right. He obviously started the race in 5th. He's now in 4th. I don't know if it's an effective 4th, but he's in 4th. And now we're seeing Lando Norris trying to take George Russell. His DRS is open, but he's going to go around the outside. And he does get past George Russell. I don't think George Russell saw that coming. And Lando Norris has made short work of getting past George Russell and will now be chasing down Charles Leclerc. How much does Lando Norris push here, or does he try to conserve tyres? Because we know Charles Leclerc is going to be conserving tyres. So he won't be pushing nearly as hard as everybody else, maybe, to try and make sure these tires get to the end of the race in decent nick. But will he be able to keep Lando Norris behind him? Because, of course, defending is going to use up those tires. He can't really afford to defend too much. He's just going to have to hope his strategy does better. Corey is saying, I'm getting Austin 2023 flashbacks. Well, yes, I think that might well be a thing as well. Bob saying, as long as Max doesn't DNF, Red Bull will win the Constructors' Championship. Well, this is known. This is pretty much known these days. Max Verstappen is having a very fun time out there in his car. He's 10.5 seconds ahead of teammate Sergio Perez, who's in second. Carlos Sainz in third. Fernando Alonso fourth. Piastri fifth. Leclerc in sixth. Lando Norris in seventh. Russell and Hamilton eighth and ninth in those Mercedes. Hulkenberg in 10th. Those Mercedes are not having a good day at all out here. They really are struggling. They're really, really struggling. They are the worst of the five. I mean, Aston Martin's Alonso is definitely doing better than the two Mercedes. So, yeah, Lance Stroll is also up into 12th now. I mean, Hamilton and Russell are not on old, hard tyres, and they're struggling to keep up with Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris is on the 1-lap old hard tyres. Russell and Hamilton on 5-lap and 4-lap old tyres. I mean, it really isn't that much of a difference. They shouldn't have got past him so easy. Russell, they're struggling to keep up with them. I mean, he's already 1.5 seconds behind Norris. Yeah, terrible for Mercedes. But meanwhile, we've on board with Lance Stroll. He's trying to catch up to Yuki Tsunoda. He's within DRS range. He's the only one within DRS range, as is actually Valtteri Bottas on Kevin Magnussen. But Lance Stroll trying to take Tsunoda for 11th. So let's see. Yeah, exactly. The commentator's so late to the party. I'm already noting all this. They're all now talking about the fact that the Mercedes tires are pretty much the same age as the other ones, and yet they were taken so easily. I will catch on, guys. I've got there already. Degradation on these Mercedes tires is quite high, I think, and Mercedes are just struggling out here in Suzuka. It's been an awful day for them. Hamilton's already made his frustrations very clear. George Russell is yet to do so, but I think he might well do so as well. He did put in the fastest lap time of the day so far, but I think it will be beaten quite easily soon if anybody else wants to. So this fight for 11th position between Yuki Tsunoda and Lance Stroll still continues. Lance Stroll trying to catch up to Yuki Tsunoda, though unable to do so this lap so far. Lap 30 of 53 as well right now. Red Bull's comfortably in first and second right now. Carlos Sainz trying to chase down Sergio Perez ahead of him, but unable to really get anywhere near him. Fernando Alonso also trying to chase down the Ferrari for third position. But again, I don't think he thinks that is his battle. If he finishes in fourth, he's going to be super, super chuffed, is Fernando Alonso. He's currently 3.6 seconds ahead of Piastri. He's on the hard tire behind him. Where will Alonso go to the pits? He's only got one pit left, I imagine. When will he go to the pits? He'll come out on the hard tire, one imagines. Where will he finish up? Going to be an interesting one to watch for that Aston Martin. Hopefully he can get as many points as he possibly can and put himself a little bit more in the chat for those Drivers' Championship points, for at least the top three there. Fernando Alonso also looking to try and get himself a decent seed for next season. Will he stay at Aston Martin next season, or will he move to a big team? We know that Christian Horner had a chat with Fernando Alonso this week. We know that it's essentially, possibly, I believe, me and Reese were having a chat about it. We're saying that we reckon that Sergio Perez might be replaced at the end of the season by either Carlos Sainz or even Fernando Alonso. And I think Red Bull might make the decision to put Fernando Alonso in that Red Bull car to wait for the next big name rookie to essentially put alongside Max Verstappen. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting one to see what Red Bull do at the end of the season. But here we go. We've got the pit stop here for Fernando Alonso. No, is Fernando Alonso who's coming to the pits? You know, it's actually in Lance Stroll. No, it's just the replay. Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's a replay of it. Charles Leclerc on the radio. Leclerc being told everyone in front needs to be stopped again when he's asking who doesn't need to stop again. And he's been told everybody needs to stop ahead of him. So, again, they're going for the long strategy here, Ferrari, with Charles Leclerc. Will it work or will it not? Right now, he's managing to hold pace, even though he's going to go with his tyres for quite a while. It's going to be interesting to watch at the end of the race, of course. That's when his tyres are going to start giving in a little bit. But I imagine Charles Leclerc will move into an effective second or third position when these guys all go into the pits soon. But will he manage to hold on to right near the top there? It's going to be very interesting to watch here. The only real different strategy across the whole board is for Charles Leclerc. Everybody else is rocking multiple strategies, pit stops. But Charles Leclerc going for the long run here. He's going to stay on these tires for the rest of the race, one imagines. So, yeah, very, very interesting to watch what happens for Charles Leclerc there. Lap 31 of 53 right now. We've got a whole lot of you watching alongside. Great to have you all alongside me. Please be sure to like the video whilst you're here and subscribe to the channel if you are new. When you like the video, we get a few more people watching it. Watching a replay here. So Oscar Piastri has a big moment into one of the turns there. Just has to just dive off slightly. It's the second last turn of the track, just goes off slightly, and that's not going to help him in his pursuit of Fernando Alonso. That's going to take his tires down a little bit. So disappointing there for Oscar Piastri. And the McLarens are not doing as well as I thought they would do. I thought Lando Norris was starting to motor a little bit in the middle of the track there, but that clearly just seems like he was pushing hard. And then as a result, his tires actually just got quite old. So yeah, unfortunate for him, he's not actually done all that well. Charles Leclerc's gap right now to Sergio Perez is 20.9 seconds. So he's currently coming out ahead of Sergio Perez if Perez goes to the pits now. But if Perez stays out for a little bit longer, gains a bit more time, then he won't. So maybe that's what Red Bull will wait for. They'll wait to see that they can get ahead of Charles Leclerc, as they know Charles Leclerc is effectively not going to pit again, and they don't want to have to try and deal with him out on the track. Sainz been told that he's faster than Checo on the radio, so he needs to just keep pushing here on his tires. He's faster than Checo, so they're trying to see if they can try and get into a second position. Charles Leclerc is also quicker than Perez. He's making up a second per lap, and he's also on these tires for a lot longer than Sergio Perez. He's going to have to hold on to these tires. Is he pushing too much? Is he managing the tires very well? We do know that the Ferrari's tire degradation is a lot less than last season. That was their big thing that they wanted to fix this season. To be fair to them, they have done a very good job at doing exactly that. Their tires do last a lot longer, almost the same levels as Red Bull. So, yeah, I mean, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz both going quicker than Sergio Perez is interesting, because Sergio Perez will need to come to the pits again, so will Sainz, but Charles Leclerc won't. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting one to watch. Meanwhile, we're on board with Valtteri Bottas is trying to make an overtake on Magnussen, but he has to just dive out of that. Maybe he's going to try and make a move later on in this first sector here. As I was saying though, as well, guys, please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Again, like the video if you haven't done so already. Let me know if where you're watching from if you are new. I'd always love to know where we're getting all these people tuning in from. And be sure to go check out the description for our channel sponsors, BITDEFENDER, for all your cybersecurity needs, and for award-winning cybersecurity, go and get BITDEFENDER there in the description. There, we've got a big discount using that link there from our affiliate code, and you guys can get a big discount on protecting all your devices from all cybercrime. And trust me, given all the cybercrime I've seen recently, I suggest you try and do it. It doesn't cost all that much, and it just protects you from a lot of really bad things happening. Valtteri Bottas still trying to take Kevin Magnussen for 13th position. Russell now on the radio. Yeah, lots of turbulence down this back straight. My helmet is flying off of my head. Piastri, in the meantime, has gone into the pits. Where will Oscar Piastri come out? It's a good pit stop for McLaren there for Piastri, 2.4 seconds. He comes out on the hard tires. Again, he'll take his tires to the end of the race, one imagines. And he's going to come out in 9th position. And the gap from 9th to 10th is massive. The top 9 races are in a different league compared to the bottom 8. I'd say no more than that, but it's 8 because we've only got 17 races remaining. The 3 drivers out of this race, Alex Albon and Daniel Ricciardo, collided in the first sector in lap 1 in the restart, and Zhou Guanyu had to retire the car after gearbox problems. We've got some big overtakes happening, trying to happen here. Tsunoda's trying to take Hülkenberg, and he was weaving all over there. Tsunoda also coming under pressure from Stroll behind him. Now Tsunoda's trying to go on the outside, but he gets pushed a little bit wide by Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg's not making this easy for him, and we've got some great racing here between the 3 of them. We've got Hülkenberg trying to defend away from Tsunoda. Tsunoda trying to go on the outside of Hülkenberg. Is he going to make it stick? He is going to make it stick. A fantastic overtake there from Yuki Tsunoda again, and the crowd love it, of course, for the home driver there. And he manages to get into the points. Tsunoda's into the points again in 10th position. Hülkenberg now in 11th, trying to be under pressure for Lance Stroll right behind him. Lance Stroll's going to try and take him. Perez, meanwhile, being told to box, but Lance Stroll's right in the back of Hülkenberg. Let's see if Lance Stroll can get past him now. He's going to try and make an overtake here into this turn here. Alonso being told to box as well. So now we're starting to see those pit stops from those various team members. I think Alonso being told to pit to defend away from Piastri, perhaps. So let's see how Alonso fares in the pits as well. Leclerc now moves into 3rd position. Obviously, he's not going to pit again, so all these drivers in the pits will have to overtake Leclerc again for that position. Alonso's pit stop 2.4 seconds. Perez is 2.1. So good pit stop there for Red Bull. Not a bad pit stop for Alonso. And you can see in the background there, Piastri coming around the corner there, and Alonso coming out on the pits now ahead of him. Still staying ahead of him in terms of DRS range, which is great. means that Alonso shouldn't have to deal with that, and should, if he manages his tyres well, stay ahead of the McLaren for the rest of the race. Watching a replay of a kick Sauber of Valtteri Bottas weaving on the straight. Yeah, Valtteri Bottas reporting Kevin Magnussen for weaving, and 100% it is weaving. He makes a move to the inside and then comes back to the outside and then goes back to the inside again. I mean, it is terrible from Kevin Magnussen. 100% weaving on the straight, and I think he's going to have to concede that position or slash take a penalty. He's 100% right as Valtteri Bottas. Kevin Magnussen there, don't know what he's doing there. 100% weaving on the straight. Now, Max Verstappen being told to box as well. So going back to the comments here, I see a few people chatting here. From Italy is Leonardo, and from Singapore, we've got someone there from Singapore. Great to have you here in the chat section here. FIA stewards, no further action for Stroll's pit lane infringement. So Stroll will not receive any penalties for that. So they're happy with that. More pit stops happening. Hulkenberg's coming to the pits, 3.3 seconds. Ocon, 3.2 seconds. Verstappen, of course, came out of the pits now. And let's see how quickly he gets to chase down Carlos Sainz. A 2-second pit stop for Max Verstappen. That is brilliant. And Sergio Perez now making a move on Lando Norris, and he moves into 4th position easily. Lando Norris concedes 4th position to the other Red Bull of Sergio Perez. Lando Norris was not fighting that. His battle is not with Perez. He knows he's got to fight somewhere else, so he's not worrying too much about letting Perez pass, because Perez is just going to be too quick. Perez is already 1.2 seconds behind Leclerc. And Leclerc was trying to keep Perez behind him previously, so I wonder if he's going to do the same thing now. He can't really afford to fight. He's got a lot of laps left. Does Charles Leclerc. So he needs to try and manage his tyres as best as he can. So I don't think he should be fighting with Sergio Perez. It's not his race. He can't afford to lose tyre wear for battling with Sergio Perez. He's on brand new tyres. Sainz on the radio. Let's box soon. I think I'm going to lose time here. So he wants to box soon as Carlos Sainz. He's on 20 lap old medium, so he really wants to box. He's being told not box yet, but just stay on your toes, so he might make a decision soon. So I think he's going to get a last minute decision as to whether he boxes or not. Lance Stroll's back into the pits, 2.4 seconds. He comes back out in 13th position. He's moved on to the soft tyre. Is that correct? I don't know if that's correct on the boards there, but Lance Stroll supposedly, according to our boards, has moved on to the soft tyre. It's a very, very weird thing here. But Max Verstappen is trying to chase down Sainz, but Perez is trying to chase down Charles Leclerc now. He's right on him with DRS. Will Charles Leclerc defend? Is he moving to the inside? He does move to the inside slightly, but just Perez does go around the inside and takes him. Leclerc does not fight it at all, which is the right decision. Leclerc can't afford to fight it. He knows that he's not going to be able to compete with Perez. He's going to have to take his tyres to the end of the race. But will Charles Leclerc fight with Lando Norris behind him? Oh, Carlos Sainz there, just going, having a little bit of a moment, same as Oscar Piastri into the second to last corner, just goes off the track slightly, loses a bit of time, and yeah, I think he needs to be pitting soon for hard tyres, just unfortunately having to bail out of the corner. So yeah, I imagine Carlos Sainz will be boxing very, very soon. Max Verstappen, 2.2 seconds behind Sainz. Sainz still needs to box. Perez and Verstappen will go on these tyres till the end of the race. Indeed, Sainz been told to box. Charles Leclerc, 1.7 seconds behind Sergio Perez. Norris, 1.9 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. Will Charles Leclerc be able to hold on to 4th position for the rest of the race? Will he fight with Lando Norris? Because Lando Norris, I don't think, will be pitting again as well. So between the two of them, they can't afford to pit. It's been good so far from Charles Leclerc and Ferrari for their strategy. Will they play it out cleverly? Will Charles Leclerc be able to defend from the McLaren behind him, or will Lando Norris get the upper hand on him? Lando Norris will have slightly newer tyres than Leclerc, but Leclerc might well be able to fend off from them. Sainz now in the pits. Let's see how quick a pit stop it is. Verstappen's already taken him. Perez will be taking him very shortly as well. It's got to be a good pit stop for Carlos Sainz here so that he can try and fight with the likes of Lando Norris, but he's already been passed by Lando Norris. It's been a poor decision, I think, from Ferrari as to why they didn't box Sainz earlier. Sainz is all the way down in 7th behind the Mercedes. He will be able to take both Mercedes, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to take Lando Norris before the end of the race. So he's going to drop to effective 5th when he started 3rd. So yeah, I'm not so sure it was the best strategy for Carlos Sainz there and Ferrari. I think he should have pitted a lot earlier. He's got fresh tyres on. He's going to have to use them. He's going to have to try and get there as quickly as possible. Piastri, meanwhile, in this chase and his pursuit of Fernando Alonso has gone well. He's within DRS range of him. Last lap, he made up 0.2 seconds to Alonso. Let's see how quickly he's going to be able to overtake Alonso, bearing in mind, of course, that he did come out of the pits. So, therefore, he has actually made up a lot more time than just 0.2 seconds. So, Piastri trying to take Alonso this lap. Will Alonso be able to defend away from the Australian driver? Let's see what happens here. Does he have anything up his sleeves? So we're seeing an overtake here, or an attempted overtake from Carlos Sainz. Meanwhile, he's already caught up to Hamilton very, very quickly. And will Carlos Sainz be able to take 6th place back and chase down those front runners for an effective, well, hopefully trying to aim for a podium, really, was Sainz. But I think now it's a little bit out of reach. He's got a lot of laps still. It's only lap 38 of 53. We've still got quite a few laps, about 15 odd laps remaining in this race. But Sainz really does need to take Hamilton and George Russell as soon as possible. Can't afford to be held up by these cars. Otherwise, his chances at any sort of podium are diminishing the longer he goes. George Russell now being told to box. Here goes Sainz. He goes past Hamilton and he moves into 6th position, which is now 5th position as a result of George Russell's pit stop. And he's now going to be chasing down Lando Norris. He's already 7 seconds behind the McLaren driver, though. George Russell, 2.3 seconds in the pits. And he will come out way ahead, as I say, of Yuki Tsunoda in 10th. The gap from 9th to 10th is huge. So it's a completely different race. It's the race for 10th, and then everybody else is already in the points. You can do very well not to be in the points if you're in the top 9 already. George Russell has come out on the medium tyre. They're going to try and take the medium tyres for the rest of the race here. Are Mercedes. This is an interesting strategy. Will the medium tyre be quicker than the hard tyre? We saw that it wasn't really that much quicker after the lap. The tyres were about 6 laps old. So, yeah, maybe not. So just going back to the comments there, offshore oil rig saying good old America. Well, with your name, I'm not surprised. Inaya here saying from Pakistan, great to have you here. And yeah, there's a whole lot of people in the comments. Be sure to keep commenting, guys, and like the video and the stream, and be sure to subscribe if you're new. Watching a replay of Lando Norris, does he have a bit of a moment? He does too. He goes over the curb a bit too much, catches it as well with his floor, and as a result, just has to correct the car. And a bit of scratching there. And that's going to make Carlos Sainz quite happy. It means he's going to gain a bit of time to Lando Norris ahead of him. He's already gained a whole second as a result of it. So Sainz, in his pursuit of Lando Norris for what it should be 3rd place, is going to be interesting. Charles Leclerc, though, will he defend from Lando Norris behind him? Lando Norris about 2 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc currently sitting in the podium position. He doesn't have to pit again. So will he defend to try and hold on to that podium position, or does he know that he needs to hold on to these tyres? Otherwise, he's going to lose a lot more than just 3rd. So yeah, Charles Leclerc is going to have an interesting race right near the end here. Hamilton on the saying, should we extend or not? And he's being asked, let us know how the tyres are. He says, yeah, the tyres are still good. I'm surprised he says that after being taken by Carlos Sainz very easily. Alonso's in pursuit of Hamilton as well. Piastri trying to get past Alonso, more important. He's 0.4 seconds behind him. Come on, Alonso. Will he be able to defend away from the Australian? Or will Oscar Piastri, who was a rookie driver last season, of course, and is one of my new favorite drivers, I really quite enjoy him. Will he be able to take the old fox for 7th position? Now, the battle for 4th is now starting to become a thing, as I say. Carlos Sainz in pursuit of Lando Norris. The striking distance is predicted to be in about 3 laps' time. Ayesha here is from Pakistan. Great to see that. Bob saying, I don't think Carlos will get P4 unless Norris goes 3rd. Well, again, as I say, I think it's going to be all about what happens between the two Ferraris. Will Charles Leclerc and Sainz work together to try and get 3rd and 4th? Because I think they can definitely try and do so. Leclerc and Norris on 12-lap-old hard tyres. Sainz is on 2-lap-old hard tyres. So Sainz will surely get 3rd place. But will Sainz try and help Leclerc get a 4th position from Lando Norris? Or does he back Lando Norris not to get past Charles Leclerc? Does he back his teammate Leclerc to hold on to that position ahead of Norris? Sainz should take both of them. He's on fresher tyres. He'll use the tyres a lot more. But that's going to be an interesting one to watch as well. Hamilton being told now to box from Mercedes. I think he's losing too much time, and I think Hamilton, whilst he might feel good, might not realize he's losing that much time. Alonso is 3.2 seconds behind him. Piastri, though, has dropped off of Alonso. Alonso's done well to build a little bit of a gap before the DRS zone to just stay ahead of Oscar Piastri. Again, just showing all the maneuvers and the experience to the young driver. The Australian gets close to Alonso, but can't get close enough. Oh, slow pit stop for Hamilton. They struggled to take off the front right. And 3.3 seconds, they struggled with that front right tyre. They didn't come off as easily as they should have. Yeah, so Tsunoda leading that battle for 10th position, and he's 40 seconds behind Hamilton. Hamilton comes out on a set of medium tyres as well, same as Russell. So those are newer tyres. Sainz, Alonso, Piastri, Russell, Hamilton right near the top. The Verstappen and Perez also on newer tyres. Leclerc and Norris, though, going for the longer game. Leclerc is on 13-lap-old hards. Norris on 13-lap-old hards as well. Norris is trying to see if he can try and catch up to Leclerc, but it seems Leclerc is doing a good job of managing it. So Leclerc might well be on for a fourth-place finish here, which is a great race for him considering where he started. So if they do manage to do that, great strategy from Ferrari in terms of going the long game rather than the short game. And fair play to the engineers as well for sorting out the tyre degradation issues they had last season, because clearly they can hold on to their tyres a lot longer than they were able to last season. Piastri still trying to catch up to Alonso in 6th position. Alonso, of course, started in 5th. I don't think he's going to be able to get 5th. I think Leclerc's done very well to get ahead of him, but Alonso might still be able to hold on to 6th, which is still a good finish. Although he's on new tyres still, he's not, I mean, he's far, but he's not that far behind Norris. And I think Norris's tyres will be old towards the end of the race. Alonso might be able to strike and see if he can try and take it. He can, of course, use these tyres up a lot more. And he's starting to gain a bit of a gap to Oscar Piastri behind him. Sainz on the radio saying, am I on a race here or what? Yes, we are for a podium. Indeed, that's what I thought. Sainz will be on for 3rd place here. He needs to catch up to Lando Norris, get past him, and then he'll get past his teammate as well. So Sainz is on for a 3rd place finish here. Charles Leclerc is also on for a 4th place finish here. Lando Norris is slowly starting to catch up to him. It was 2 seconds gap, now it's 1.6. Just watching a replay of that Lewis Hamilton pit stop, and said the front right just took a while to get off there. Just didn't quite get off, just stuck a little bit. But yeah. And yeah, Ocon does now receive a 5-second penalty as well. I didn't see what that was for, unfortunately. I did see that he got a penalty, but I did not see what he got it for. Or has he got a penalty? Have to find out. Bob getting Charles needs driver of the day for not losing 3rd yet. Well, as I say, Charles Leclerc is doing very well right now to get up into 3rd. I don't know if he's going to hold on to it. I don't think he will. Hamilton on the radio saying, what's the gap ahead? We've lost even more time. Says, yeah, it looks like we lost a bit of time on the in-lap, being just telling Hamilton where they lost that time there. And Max Verstappen is already overtaking Alpines at the back there for overlapping. And Sainz is trying to chase Lando Norris down. It's 2.2 seconds. Norris's time to Leclerc is 1.6 seconds, 1.5 seconds. Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris is going to have a very interesting battle here in the last 10 laps of this race. Patrick saying Leclerc needs to box soon. No, he doesn't. He's not going to. Yellow flag, sector 2. This is going to change things. Yellow flag at sector 2. What's happened here? Is it going to be cleared? Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent is the reason we have a yellow flag. What's happened to him? Is he out? Is he crashed? Is stationary. He is stationary. We could see some big pit stops here. This could be interesting. Lando Norris might not be able to actually take Charles Leclerc on the hard tire. They might go onto the soft tire. It's a yellow flag. Will we have a safety car? No, he's trying to get back onto the track. So he was off. He's trying to get back on. Yeah, we will continue. Okay, so it's just a yellow flag. It's not going to cause any problems with the safety car. He's all right still, but he's lost a lot of positions as Sargent. He was doing all right in this race, but he's lost it now into 17th position. And yeah, he's right at the back of the pack. Green flag, clear race. I thought that was going to be something interesting. If that caused the safety car, that could have been very interesting. Williams now obviously going to need to change those tyres. They know so they're going to have to wait for Logan Sargent to make his way there. I'm going to watch a replay of what happens to Logan Sargent here. He comes into that sharp right-hander and he just clips it a little bit too much. Just locks up badly on the front right and goes off the track and almost goes into the wall. Does well to stay out of it. Just gets caught in the gravel and manages to somehow get the car going and out of the gravel. So fair play to him for getting the car going, but he just locks up quite badly on his front right tyre, which causes him to go into the gravel there. But no safety car. The yellow flag's gone. It's all green racing, and it's actually suited Charles Leclerc, who's now got the gap up to 2 seconds to Norris behind him. Sainz is now really trying to battle for Norris now. 1.2 to now 1.1 seconds behind him. So we're going to see Sainz and Norris, old teammates, of course, going to be fighting it out now for 4th position. Sainz, if he gets past Norris, will look to try and get past Charles Leclerc for a 3rd place finish. Charles Leclerc will hold on to 4th, and we'll see a Red Bull 1-2, a Ferrari 3-4. Ferrari, not a bad score for them for this race weekend if that does happen. Lando Norris, though, will still be trying to fight it out to try and stay in 4th position, at least ahead of maybe Charles Leclerc. Piastri trying to chase down Alonso, but Alonso again also managing it very, very well in that position there. He is looking good for 6th position as well if he just manages to keep this up. 10 laps remaining in the Suzuka Grand Prix. The Grim Boss asking Stroll versus Hulkenberg, a relevant fight? Not really. There's no points there. And Stroll's on soft tires still. I don't know why they came out on the soft tires. I still don't know if that's actually correct. I haven't seen Stroll's car, but on soft tires, a very, very odd one. Hulkenberg, though, on the hard tires behind him is actually catching him slightly. 10 laps to go, as I say. Max Verstappen's interval to his teammate Sergio Perez is sitting at 11 seconds. Charles Leclerc in third, 7.5 seconds behind Perez. Norris, 2 seconds behind Leclerc. But Sainz is 0.4 seconds behind Norris. Now coming onto the start finish straight, he's going to have DRS here. Carlos Sainz opens the DRS. He's right on the back of Lando Norris. He's going to dive down the inside. Lando Norris is probably going to have to concede this position. He can't really fight it. And Sainz gets past Norris very easily and moves into fourth position. Norris now down in fifth. Lap 44 of 53. Just watching a replay here of Lando Norris. This is now, yeah, just see the moment that gave Sainz that opportunity. He locks up into the corner and you're just watching from behind. Sainz watches that lock up and he just notices, he goes, oh yes, now it's my chance. And he just takes advantage of that. Lando Norris, under the pressure of having that Ferrari and trying to keep it up to try and get a decent finish, just buckles a little bit. And as a result, Sainz now takes that position for fourth position. Now, will Ferrari swap drivers or will Sainz have to try and fight with Leclerc? One imagines Leclerc will let his teammate by and Leclerc will fight. Sainz now on the radio. Being told one more to go for the podium. So they clearly intend on Sainz going past Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc will let his teammate by. One imagines that's going to be the strategy here. And yeah, I mean, I think Leclerc will let him by because he knows how much quicker Sainz is on these much newer tires. So Charles Leclerc might not even have to fight it too much. Charles Leclerc on the radio. Being told not to lose time with Sainz. We are racing Norris. So just basically being told, let Sainz pass. When he does come there, don't lose time. Don't let him lose time with you because essentially your race is with Norris. Sainz will go past you. So don't try and lose time with it fighting as teammates. So Sainz, who is going to be axed from Ferrari next season for Lewis Hamilton, is significantly improving on his driving ability and has actually been the better Ferrari driver for what I'd argue the second season in a row now. And for all that Ferrari back Charles Leclerc, I mean, Sainz has been incredible for me. I mean, he's been brilliant in that Ferrari, and getting 2 race wins in the last 2 seasons where everything else has just been Red Bull is also incredible. And it's very upsetting that he's not been backed, but I think Red Bull might make a move for him in that other Red Bull seat alongside Max Verstappen. I think that might be a thing that you might see. But yes, here we go. Leclerc and Sainz, very close to each other. Sainz is now within DRS range of Leclerc. One imagines as they come onto the main start finish straight that Leclerc will let his teammate Sainz past. He can't afford to lose time though, so Leclerc needs to ensure that Sainz gets close to him without losing time. Sainz needs to make sure he pushes so that he doesn't allow his teammate to lose much time either, because Leclerc is still in a battle with Lando Norris. Even though Lando Norris is dropping quite quickly, he's 3 seconds behind Sainz now. One imagines that Leclerc can't afford to really lose that much time. One small mistake in these last few laps, and Leclerc will lose that 4th place to Lando Norris. So Leclerc now going to have to let his teammate Sainz by. He goes on the outside there. Is he fighting? He goes to the inside. They are fighting a little bit. There's a little bit of defense from Charles Leclerc, but Sainz gets past him very, very easily. And Charles Leclerc does move now down into 4th position. There's a tiny bit of fighting there from Charles Leclerc. He moved into a defensive position slightly, but Sainz just saw it, went around the outside with the DRS. I think it was maybe just a bit of a cheeky thing. Yeah, the Ferrari drivers, Ferrari engineers are just having a bit of a smile and laugh. I think it was a little bit cheeky almost from Charles Leclerc. But Sainz moves into 3rd position. Charles Leclerc already 1.5 seconds behind Sainz. Norris chasing down 2.6 seconds behind him. Alonso, though, and Piastri, their fight is beginning to get a lot closer. Piastri's 0.4 seconds behind Alonso. He's getting very close to him. Alonso's going to have to try and manage this against the McLarens. It's a battle that's really brewing there in 6th. Alonso and Piastri. Will Alonso hold on to that position ahead of Piastri? Watching Lance Stroll here get past Valtteri Bottas on the kick Sauber in his soft tires, of course, Lance Stroll has, and he's managed to get past the kick Sauber. He moves into 12th position. Again, I mean, as some of these people are saying for the comments here regarding science. I mean, it is a bit of an odd one. I'm not saying Charles Leclerc is a bad driver. I love Charles Leclerc. I think he's an awesome driver. I think he does still need to work on mentality a little bit because he still makes errors, essentially, that shouldn't exist there. And Lance Stroll is going to get past Kevin Magnussen now on these soft tires. He moves into 11th position. He's got an 8-second gap to try and make up in 6 laps to Tsunoda, but Tsunoda's on older hard tires and Stroll's on newer soft tires, so will Stroll be able to catch that gap up? That's going to be interesting. A little bit of a battle for 10th position. I don't think it'll be all that much, but Lance Stroll has now moved himself into 11th position. But going back to that Sainz thing, Sainz and Leclerc, I mean, they're clearly backing Charles Leclerc in that Ferrari. Sainz has been taken out of the seat, but Sainz has been arguably the 3rd best driver in the grid, or 4th best driver in the grid for the last 2 seasons. I mean, he's been exceptional. Max Verstappen, obviously, right at the top there. Fernando Alonso has been incredible as well. And, Sainz is probably there and thereabouts as being after that. I think it's very harsh that Sainz has been acted out of that Ferrari seat for a struggling Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's not performed well in multiple seasons now. He's really struggling. I mean, I understand the Mercedes has not been great, but George Russell managed to get a win in the Mercedes and Hamilton hasn't. So they're backing, the world champion in the previous world champion, 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton in that Ferrari. Big name, don't get me wrong, but Carlos Sainz has been performing better than Charles Leclerc. And if Charles Leclerc performs better than Hamilton next season, one would imagine that actually Sainz would have done a better job than Hamilton. So it's an odd one. It's a very odd one. Of course, there are rumors that Carlos Sainz will be going to Audi in 2026 when they eventually arrive in the sport. But I think he might move to a bigger team before then, and maybe that whole thing falls through because, quite frankly, Red Bull are looking at him. They must be looking at him. I think Aston Martin might be looking at him as well because I think if Red Bull opt to try and get Alonso into that Red Bull seat, Sainz will be free to go to Aston Martin in place of Alonso. I mean, there's lots of various things that could happen here. Russell is chasing down Oscar Piastri on these medium tires, and all that Piastri was chasing down Alonso, Russell is going to be trying to take Piastri's within DRS of Piastri as well. I mean, Piastri is still trying to chase down Alonso. Alonso is still just managing it so well. But yeah, I mean, Russell on his medium tires might be able to try and fight for 7th. Stroll having a bit of a moan to his engineers. They say it's unbelievable how bad our speed is on the straight. It's like a different category. So yeah, Stroll's not happy with the straight line speed of these Aston Martins. I don't think he needs to be complaining too much. He's down in 11th, trying to fight for 1 point, whilst Alonso's up in 6th, holding onto it quite nicely and in amongst the McLarens. So I think Stroll can cry his tears home to daddy and hope that something happens for him a little bit better some other time. You have every right to complain when you're the foster of the 2 drivers, but when you are so slow, not even fighting for a point, I think you can pipe down a little bit. Alonso up in 6th, as I say, ahead of Piastri. Piastri is now trying to fight with George Russell behind him in that Mercedes for 7th position. A little bit of points there. Charles Leclerc still has a gap to Lando Norris of 2.1 seconds, which means that Charles Leclerc is looking good for a 4th place finish here, which is exceptional for Ferrari given where he started. Sainz also going to finish up here in 3rd. He's got the fastest lap right now. Will Max Verstappen be able to get that away from him? I don't think so. So Sainz being able to hold on to that fastest lap is also going to get some more points for Ferrari, which is fantastic. And Alonso is not even having to worry too much about Piastri behind him now because George Russell is all over the back of Piastri coming now into the start finish straight. So let's see what happens here for George Russell and Oscar Piastri for that 7th place battle. Oscar Piastri on older hard tires, Russell on newer medium tires as well. Russell not catching Piastri as quickly as he might have thought he would be able to here. I think Piastri had a little bit of ERS, some energy reserves there to give himself a little bit of more energy on that start finish straight. And I see a whole lot of people that tuned in and watching us, 1,200 people here joining us. Great to have you guys here alongside me. And if you guys are new, be sure to subscribe to the channel and please be sure to like the video as well. Watching a replay of Nico Hülkenberg take his teammate Kevin Magnussen, and Nico Hülkenberg now sits in 12th position ahead of Magnussen. As some of the comments are saying, Ferrari don't have a strategy. I don't know what you're talking about. Ferrari's been very, very good today. Very, very good today. Unless you're talking about long-term strategy. The long-term strategy is a bit of an odd one, as you say, if you're talking about that. But if you're talking about today's strategy, they've been very good. The race strategy today has been exceptional, finishing 3rd and 4th, essentially what they should do, unless Leclerc makes a big mistake. Lando Norris should not be able to catch up to him in 4 laps. We're right in the last 4 laps here. Lap 50 of 53. Yeah, but as some people are saying, Hamilton is obviously better than Sainz. No, I'm not so sure that's actually the case. I really am not so sure that's the case. Hamilton, I think, is getting a little bit tired from Frank. I think they're both of them in the same car would challenge each other quite well. I think Sainz would probably actually do a little bit better from Frank. Sainz's form at the moment is indisputable. He's racing very well right now. Now, George Russell and Oscar Piastri. George Russell makes a late move here. Oh, he's going to touch. They have touched. Oscar Piastri has to dive out of the turn. But I think that's George Russell being overexcited. And George Russell has this habit in the last few laps of a race. He gets so keen to overtake that he doesn't do it logically. He tried to take Oscar Piastri early there, which was really stupid. And there's a bit of weaving on the straight. And my word, Oscar Piastri defending hard against George Russell behind him on those hard tyres. George Russell is going to have to do a lot more than what he did there to try and get past the Australian driver. Oscar Piastri defending hard on him. And yeah, George Russell just made a bit of a stupid decision there. If he just was patient, went into the start-finish straight with DRS nice and close, he would have taken him easily. But instead, he tried to take him early in that second to last corner. I think they actually do touch ever so slightly. He just tries to dive early, tries to make the overtake happen early. No, almost touches, but doesn't. And Oscar Piastri has to just abandon that turn because George Russell leaves him absolutely no space to make that turn. And yeah, I mean, it's just a stupid decision from George Russell. He could have made that overtake happen already, but now it's just given Piastri a little bit of an advantage, and Piastri will stay ahead of him. And he's now been noted for forcing a driver off the racetrack. I don't think he'll get a penalty for it because he didn't gain a position, but he has been noted for it. But yeah, Russell again. I don't understand his logic when it comes to the final couple of laps. Like he's going to try and take a place. Be patient. You don't have to panic. He's quicker than Piastri. Don't be stupid about it. You're quicker than Piastri. Come into the final quarter right behind him. Use your DRS and EOS and just take him into that first corner. But he tries to take him earlier than that. Forces the drive off the track. Loses time himself. Piastri's just saying on the radio, is confirming he didn't give me anywhere to go in the chicane. I had to cut. Well, of course he does. Nobody's disputing that. But now, can Piastri defend away from it's very interesting, Piastri getting a little bit of a buffer here from DRS from the overtakes of these Alpines here. He's getting past the blue flags, and it's giving him all the help in the world. There's Oscar Piastri. They're getting the help. And then again, going back to George Russell's stupidity, now Oscar Piastri is having the assistance of those blue flags to get DRS from. And another lap, staying ahead of George Russell. Now George Russell's going to panic even more. And Oscar Piastri could have been taken by George Russell if George Russell was just clever. But Russell just panics so hard in the final couple of laps of a race. Really needs to be a lot more patient. So, meanwhile, what's going to be more interesting as a result of this is Piastri's fighting with Russell. Does pretty much all but confirm Alonso's going to finish 6th, which is a great finish for him, considering the tyre strategies they had. They had very interesting tyre strategies, did Aston Martin. Alonso starting on the softs, and then, going to mediums and then hard. So weird strategy for Aston Martin. Stroll going back onto the softs. He's not going to catch up to Tsunoda. He's also actually going to maybe lose position to Hulkenberg now. Those softs, I think, are getting old. He's going to have to do a bit of fighting there. But again, no points there, so not too much concern. Russell and Piastri, that's where we're watching. Leclerc is going to definitely beat Norris unless something else happens. He's got a big enough gap. The only gap that we look at in terms of potential lane switching is Russell and Piastri. Now, the last lap is going to start soon. We're in lap 52 of 53. We're almost there. Right at the end of this race here. The Red Bulls have been so dominant, and Max Verstappen has stolen that fastest lap away from Carlos Sainz. So unfortunately for Ferrari, they're not going to get that fastest lap unless Sainz manages to do something here. But Piastri now trying to defend away from George Russell behind him. George Russell's DRS open, but so does Piastri because he's got Alonso ahead of him. So Alonso actually, I think, dropped back there just to give him a little bit of help because he dropped significantly. He was about 1.1, 1.2 seconds ahead of Piastri, and then just suddenly it was about 0.8, 0.7 seconds before the DRS zone. So it's almost as if Alonso's decided just to ensure that he holds on to it because George Russell's clearly on newer medium tyres than their old hard tyres. Might have just dropped back just to give Piastri a little bit of DRS assistance and say, hey, you know what, I'll help you to the back. I'll help you to the end of this race here ahead of George Russell. Alonso is literally almost letting Piastri stay with him so that he stays ahead of Russell. And again, the thinking that Alonso must do is next level. Because I'm telling you right now, he dropped slightly for Piastri there because I was looking at that. He was getting further and further ahead of Piastri. Piastri fighting with Russell, and then suddenly Alonso just drops. One imagines he did that deliberately just to keep Piastri there. Yeah, so many people in the comments. Great to see you here. So many people watching as well. Great to have you all alongside. Please be sure to go check out our channel sponsor, BITDEFENDER, and go click on the link in the description to get a big discount on getting great cybersecurity for all your needs, mobile and otherwise. And yeah, final lap of the Suzuka Grand Prix, race 4 of the 24. And Verstappen is going to finish first, Perez in second, Sainz will probably third, fourth will be Leclerc, Norris is fifth. But the question is here, George Russell in the last lap, will he get past Oscar Piastri? Oscar Piastri's got DRS, he's gone to the inside to defend away from George Russell, but I think George Russell has made that move. George Russell's going to have to try and deal with Oscar Piastri's fighting, but Oscar Piastri does get taken, and unfortunately for him, Russell has managed to get past him on those medium tyres, and Oscar Piastri, even though he had DRS, will not be able to hold on to 7th, and he's now dropped down into 8th position. Russell has made up that position into 7th, so eventually he does get it, and George Russell moves into 7th position on those medium tyres, but he's too far away from Fernando Alonso to do anything unless Alonso makes a big mistake, and so it looks like Max Verstappen will be continuing to take all the points. Fastest lap of the day and a huge interval of 12.7 seconds. Verstappen comes around the final couple of corners and will win the Suzuka Grand Prix. The reigning world champion, again, wins in Suzuka. Perez, 12.5 seconds behind him. We'll have to try and come across the line, and we'll start talking about him there. But I think the talk of the day actually goes to Ferrari. A fantastic strategy from Ferrari in terms of their drivers. Carlos Sainz will finish up here in 3rd position. Charles Leclerc, after starting further back, had a very interesting pit strategy and a very good pit. Oh no! Oh no, what am I talking about? It's not oh no, it's not oh no. Yuki Tsunoda just was lapped, so he does finish 10th with a point for his home Grand Prix. And Charles Leclerc does come home in 4th. Lando Norris in 5th. Alonso, also great race from him in 6th position. And Russell does well to get 7th. Unlucky for Piastri, he was holding on to it right up into the end and was unable to make it stick. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all others. That is the end of the Suzuka Grand Prix. Just to let you know the exact finishing positions there. The Red Bulls, Max Verstappen in 1st with the fastest lap as well, collecting all the points possible for himself. Sergio Perez in 2nd there. So all the points possible for Red Bull they collected today. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, though, did very well to get 3rd and 4th in those Ferraris, getting themselves further ahead of the rest of the field, firmly putting themselves in 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. Lando Norris finishes up in 5th position. Not too bad for him, but he does lose 2 positions from where he managed to qualify. So unlucky for him. Charles Leclerc, that made up 4 positions. So great driver from him. He's arguably my driver of the day. Fernando Alonso only dropped 1 position, and in an Aston Martin that's clearly needing a few more upgrades. Great finish for him as well in 6th position there. George Russell managed to make up a position, 2 positions in the entire race, and just took Piastri in that last lap there to get in 7th position. Piastri is in 8th. Hamilton, not a great day for him. He lost 2 positions down to 9th, and the last points haul for Yuki Tsunoda, 1 point there for the Japanese driver in the Japanese Grand Prix in 10th position for RB. Going further down the grid, 11th Hulkenberg. So Hulkenberg did manage to get that place back up on Stroll. Stroll made up 4 positions into 12th position. I still think he could have finished higher if he tried. Magnussen in 13th, Bottas in 14th. The 2 Alpines of Ocon and Gasly in 15th and 16th, and Logan Sargent, after having that moment and going off after doing all right for most of the race, finished up in 17th position. We lost Alex Albon and Ricciardo in the opening lap to a crash, and Zhou Guanyu to a gearbox failure later on in the race. So that ends your Suzuka Grand Prix. Thank you so much for joining us here on Forever Motorsports. I have been Mark. Please be sure to go and check out our channel sponsors. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for all the next big Formula 1 events and Moto GP events as well. Me, myself, and Mark will be out. Reese will be back soon as well. Don't you fret. Steve also does a few of these days. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me all here. Have a great day. F1 23 just answering your comment there. I say my driver of the day is Charles Leclerc. But yes, thank you so much, guys. Bye.